Good evening, GPVWC fans. It's time for Formula Sprint 1 at Silverstone in Northamptonshire, England. My name is Eoin Harmon, and today, round 9 of the 2023 FS1 season will be getting underway very soon, starting with qualifying. But of course, let's introduce my co-commentator for this evening, Ed Hunter. Ed, how are you keeping?
Very good, thanks. It's great to be back here at FS1 and at the high-speed Silverstone circuit. It's going to be a pair of very, very competitive races here. It looks like it's going to be dry today. So unlike FS2 earlier in the week, we won't be assaulted by bad weather. But that certainly doesn't dilute the challenge, and it's going to be really tough to make the moves when you need to get your strategy to work in this series, as it always is, to be honest.
Oh, definitely, yeah. But indeed, the mixture of weather never far away, unfortunately, are part of the planet, Ed. But nevertheless, yeah, it is a totally different challenge in the dry. But the championship continues to heat up as we had a mixture of positive and negative results for our big contenders, and there'll be other points to think about heading into qualifying, as such as Thomas Harvey's not here today, so he's not going to be able to build on that victory in race 1. But indeed, Mike Quint's championship lead has hovered at around 5 points now, with Jack Mir getting double podiums. Szymon Frelick absolutely in despair with a double DNF, but he's got a huge chance to start rebuilding his way back up to the top. But of course, there's all sorts of contenders just outside the realm of those championship contenders that could certainly upset the apple cart.
Oh, yeah, certainly. Lots of new drivers in as well, like Martin Hemmingsen filling in for Loic Moynier, and a couple others like Patrick Rozak in the Build Sim Volpino. Lots of new people, even Giuseppe Saracino, who of course has been doing great things in FSR Academy in the EP Lab number 70, come out to play. So, and of course Jason Muscat in the Multiforce 11, filling in, I believe, for our championship leader Mike Quint, who can't make it. So we got two of our big leaders. Mike Quint 5 points in the lead ahead of Jack Mayer, who is here today, and Thomas Harvey is also not here, as we said. So that's basically only the TOP guys out of our top 4 contenders that are both on site today and looking to score some big points. So like you say, big opportunity for Frelick, but especially for Jack Mayer. As we heard at the end of Canada, I asked him, is it game on now? And he said, absolutely. But I don't think he thought it would be this straightforward, seemingly. As long as he can finish, hopefully he can get some good points. But that's never a guarantee here with all the challenges this circuit has in store as qualifying begins.
Not at all, but he knows a pole position at his home circuit will boost his chances considerably. But Jussi Lahtinen for Friesland, his objective will be just to get this banker lap set and then build his way up from there. And indeed, Hemmingsen also in the private session here, pretty much neck and neck with the Friesland driver. He's going to try and make a name for himself here, subbing in for Spark. And of course, there's Frelick as well. All the drivers raring to go with the optimal conditions on the track so far. So yeah, we'll see how many of the runners are. Yeah, we should have a full grid actually. Yeah, 30 drivers in the server. So yeah, I anticipate a very competitive session, even if we do have some of those big names absent. Yeah, Vincent Gutt, we saw some of his very best driving back in Canada, so if he wants to continue getting Spark in contention for the Constructors' Championship, they've still got a ways to go. Yeah, now that he'll be handing that responsibility over to himself now, make sure his substitute teammate can also work hard. That should also give the team some belief. But yeah, TOP should have the familiarity advantage here, Ed.
Absolutely, but in terms of the constructors table, the really interesting battle is the battle for third between Multiforce GP and Netrex, both on 271, with Netrex been catching up massively in the last couple of rounds. 3 podiums in the weekend at Spain, and then a 1-2 in race 2 in Canada after finishing 4th and 5th in the first feature race in the round 1 at Canada. So that means, especially with Mike Quinn absent, Menno Collant has got quite the job to do to keep Martin and Watson at bay here at Silverstone, so we could well see Netrex climbing up the table and perhaps even closing on Spark with Thomas Harvey absent as well. So Vincent Gutt and Menno Collant have got a sort of unenviable position of trying to hang on from drivers that are really on a roll at the moment.
Yeah, so now Frelick and Martin both have the 27.0 first sector times, as well as Moritz Kropp actually. Now heading into what was the previous start-finish straight, heading into Kops and the famous Maggots and Beckett's. So we'll see how he commits to the corner at 5th gear, 240 kilometers per hour. So no letting up here for Shimon. Now let's see how he carries on this form into the high-speed sweepers. Staying in 6th gear, down to 4th now, and then Chapel awaits before the hangar straight. So we're going to find out. Yeah, 42.0 for Carlos Martin. Fairly 0.2 of a second down there. Yeah, plenty of drivers getting into the similar time frame here. So yeah, the track's so wide and quick. It means that the ability to get on the power should equalize things a little bit more. A lot of curb there into the final chicane before Club, and then the finish line coming up now very quick. So there we go. Let's see all these times fly in. And it's actually Netrex 1-2 with actually Mayer getting in between and Hemmingson P3. So it's a dramatic turnaround, but Martin has advantage.
Absolutely, and Hemmingson really showing exactly why Spa could put him in the car. Seems to be a pretty nippy and quick replacement for Thomas Harvey there. As we look at Saracino in the EP Lab car. EP Lab has certainly had their dramas in FS1 back in Canada, but they've one of those teams slowly improving, and Saracino now getting a bite at the wheel can certainly, if nothing else, this is great practice for FSR, which his next round is also at Silverstone in FSR Academy for Saracino, which he is, I think, about 2nd in the standings there. So certainly looking to improve, and goes up to 5th lap. A brilliant lap there by Giuseppe Saracino, the Italian, really laying down a marker. Here's his teammate Federico Marino, not going quite as quickly, but could certainly launch himself up the order, Eoin. And it's going to be 23rd there, so gets himself off the back row.
Yeah, so that's a huge lap time there for Saracino. That makes certainly very interesting reading with Watson knocked down to P6. So you'll see now the drivers have to cool down the car, get into the pits and restart. But now with 10 minutes to go, it's already 5 minutes. So yeah, you get you certainly wouldn't feel the distance. It is a moderately long track here at Silverstone. Obviously, these cars not as quick as what we see in Super League, for example, but 1 minute 37. The fact you're nearly 2 minutes on your out lap. Oh dear, and that's Koenig.
Yeah, Koenig crabbing in the Friesland, and it looks like he's spun it out of Chapel and hit the wall, I think, somewhere through Maggots Beckett's Chapel, essentially. And yeah, the Friesland looking a bit second-hand. I don't know why he just doesn't instantly go back to the pits. And there we go. That's the tail end of the incident just being shown to us now. So he just lost it. I think he might have lost it on the DRS zone, because that's an error we've seen time and time again. And you saw when we were watching Felix on board that he was being very conservative, cut right to the inside through Chapel there. So he's making sure there was no turning on the steering wheel when he opened that DRS. In fact, let's get a more formal replay on. There we go. Yeah. That's as far back as it goes, folks.
Yeah. Footage has been lost, unfortunately.
I did take a big whack, the onboard camera.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, so it's been much earlier on.
Yeah, much earlier. Yeah. Goodness gracious, yeah. And it just carries on, unfortunately. He's lost even more. Oh, there we go. There it is. We get it. It's just out of Chapel, unfortunately.
Yeah, just swapped ends on him.
Yeah. I'd say be okay, and you can try again. 12th place that he has registered the time for. That is still plenty to be proud of, but yeah, we'll see now with the driver's second attempt heading towards the halfway point of the 15-minute session. So Martin wants to carry on his stellar form from Montreal, and indeed, of course, from his home race in Spain previously. So it is a dramatic turnaround for him after struggles in the midpoint of the season. And Hemmingson,
all three of them at the same time, I mean.
Yeah, they're all in identical parts of the track, so let's see how they carry on with these.
Good lap by Lahoo.
Lag, a bit of lag. And Alex Lahoo is now registered P3, so Lahoo out of sequence compared to these guys. But he's onto the second row, 900th behind the pole sitter. Now let's check out Martin into the first complex now, the loop, the left-hander. Aintree for the Wellington Straight. Yeah, this is where we're going to expect a lot of overtaking to be done. It is a prime portion of the track to get side by side on DRS. So it's purple for Martin into the first sector there, 27.041. 200ths better off than before. Now, the always challenging Luffield and Woodcote, excuse me. I got that one right for you, no bother. So yeah, now we'll see him into Cop. So let's check out that speedometer. Yeah, he's on prime speed there, 5th gear, 255 kilometers per hour. And now into the beautiful segments of right, left, and right again. So let's see what his next split will appear as. Should be targeting a 1 minute 10 or 11. Yeah, so there we go. He's down on his personal best. There's still more to gain in the here, gain on the final sector, but Jack Mayer, kind of similar there. He's down in sector 2, so he's going to abandon that lap, unfortunately.
Frelick is up in sector 2 though, 41.9, so this is a really quick lap from Simon Frelick.
Yeah, Martin surrenders that lap, but Frelick carries on. He's broken into 41.9 territory into the second sector, but it needs to be best 3 out of 3, and can he do it? It's P4. No, he just didn't have the consistency needed there. So he's going to move up 1 place ahead of Hemmingson. But Lahou is a little bit too far ahead even to threaten him. Now, the last chance saloon coming up now. So the drivers have to get back to the pits and restart. But here's Saraceno, the great upset category here. If he can actually challenge for pole position for EP Lab, the unpredictable result this would be. So let's manage his lap for the remainder on the broadcast and see how he gets on. Now it's tempting to get onto those inside curves, but they'll knock you aside. Yeah, he stays clean. And now into club. What's it going to be? Oh, it looks good. It looks really good, but it's P4. So still that trilogy at the top there, keeping firmly in place ahead.
Yeah, fabulous first and final sector there. He was so close to getting a Lahou for third there, was Giuseppe Saraceno. So really, really impressive there by the young Italian. As we look at Jason Muscat trying to get the Multiforce into the top 10, but currently only 15th behind the 2 Lunark cars we saw making their debut in Montreal. Remember Chris Butcher's amazing drive to, I think, top 12, wasn't it, in the second race, where he was overtaking left and right from 30th and last on the grid. Here's Keyshaw in their Pixelate Esports on a personal best in the first sector. Second split coming up now for the Pixelate driver. And Levine, what's it going to be? It's another personal best, so we're getting into the crunch point. 4.5 minutes left to go, Eoin. And Keyshaw, here we go, at the end of the hangar straight into Stowe. And it looks very neat and tidy, so Keyshaw could probably get himself into the top 20 as he passes what looks to be a dot that's just on the middle of the racetrack. I don't know what that's about, Eoin, but I'm pretty sure that's not a natural occurring feature of the Silverstone circuit. But here we go then. Keyshaw powers towards the line, and it is going to be 1 position gain to 22nd then. So a personal best, but not quite enough. Only enough to beat Matthias Kozowski in the Hyperion. As Lahou sets purple first sector, which is immediately beaten by Carlos Martin.
Yeah, just 4 thousandths between them in the first sector. Martin has to keep it clean there. That looks perfectly fine to me. I was just a little bit ahead on the actual race circuit, but Martin making slight gains. Now we'll see. This is where... Oh, it's certainly offline there for Lahou. I don't know if that'll be flagged by the stewards, but nevertheless you want to carry on and see how he gets to perform on the rest of the lap. So 1 minute 09 there, so it combines into a... Yeah, he's going to have to abandon that. Lahou off pace, but Martin a double purple, but Mayer has found a little bit of time to make it a purple sector 2 for him. Oh, wobbling out of Stowe. Now Vale, the final sequence and club remains, so here we go. Can we see Martin consolidate that pole position, Ed?
Jack Mayer has set a 41.9 in sector 2. He's very, very close then, so it's nip and tuck. Here we go. Martin goes that a little bit faster, but not faster in the final sector. Jack Mayer goes towards the line, and it's not enough for him either. So they stay as they are, Eoin. Martin on pole position with Mayer alongside him on the front row, but just 0.074 between the pair. As Dragoon goes 6. It's great late effort by the Rowan GP driver there.
Yeah, so Rowan also one of those teams that can get great results on their day. Dragoon didn't have a great time of it in Canada, unfortunately. He was involved in one of the tangles at the very start, I believe, if my memory serves me. But now let's check out Build Sim, who are probably that team. They have great capabilities, but Netrex probably a little bit too far ahead in the championship, and TCS off will want to threaten them. So Burzins for Build Sim on the second to last row in 27th. Crucial lap for him now if he wants to get ahead of the likes of Miram, Hoekstra and Gazowski. Looking like a solid lap so far. Wouldn't be.
And look, he cut right to the inside there as well for the DRS to make sure he wasn't turning and opening that rear wing at the same time. And into Stowe he goes. But of course, his teammate is 10th in the form of Patrick Rozak, so that really puts the pressure on Burzins with less than 2 minutes left to go then. So really, we're getting into crunch time then. It's do or die for Christos Burzins.
Yeah, he won't be able to set another time unless he has the fuel and the tyres on board, but unfortunately that is his lot unless he has planned ahead. But Hemmingson on course for a personal best at the moment. Just needs to secure these final 3 corners now, 2 and then 1 to go. So here we are. Quick rundown. Keeps it neat and tidy. Oh, it's the best of all in Sector 3, but it's not enough to do any better than one position gain. So P6 for Hemmingson, getting 1 over Dragoon. Hamming in P13. I don't think that's a competitive lap time, unfortunately, so let's check out Lahu on his outlap with 40 seconds to go now. So plenty of time just to build up his revs, get the tyres in optimal temperature, and then get through those final corners to set his last benchmark time. Mayer is in the garage, Martin's in the garage.
Well.
So
yeah, they didn't have time to do another lap, or they just thought they couldn't go any faster. So this actually puts the advantage of Laho, Saracino, and Frelick actually to potentially put in a big surprise here if the track keeps evolving. So they're in the garage. These guys are out on track, and they're going that little bit faster as well. Personal best for Saracino in Sector 1.
Yeah, this is beautiful stuff for Saracino. Yeah, to make this kind of impact as a substitute, you can't ask for more. But he will want to demand more of himself to see if he can make this a really memorable first race session for EP Lab, who will be in dire need of those points, knowing that they're currently 13th in the standings on 5 points, with the best result of 12th, I believe, all season long. So let's see if Saracino can nail this final lap. He's a little bit down in Sector 2, wobble into final corner. No, he's abandoned it. That's
understeered off. So now Laho is going to get a easier ride to third position unless Simon Frelick has anything to say about it. Frelick a little bit quicker than him in Sector 1, sets a personal best 27.033, whereas Laho 27.062.
Almost nothing to separate the drivers, but we need to see a little bit more data to confirm. And no, Laho is off pace. Frelick with a massive spill. Oh, goodness. The driver's giving every last fibre they're being. But nevertheless, it seems like Martin and Mayer will be on the front row.
Wasn't just fibres being given there as Laho just drifts it on the entry here through into club. But yeah, it's not just fibre being given by Simon Frelick, but carbon fibre as well as Laho goes flying over the curb. So he knew he wasn't going to get a pole on that lap, so thought he'd just take flying lessons, I think. But a stylish way to end, and third fastest, not bad at all for Alex.
Yeah, he should be satisfied with that. He knew his pace in Canada was worthy of better than he got. But Jason Muscat just outside the points paying position there in P16. So yeah, Multiforce need every last demand out of him if they can manage it. So yeah, pressure on Multiforce to stay competitive. But now let's check out Frelick's onboard to see what happened to him. Maggots and Beckett's were fine. It's it is a bit loose there, so he's already struggling, and now he's going to be offline onto the Astro, and then the gravel trap didn't do enough to really spare his back there. That would have been a sore one. We'll check out Lahu's on board as well. He's going to make it to the second to last corner. It's already loose. So yeah, he is struggling with the temperatures there, I'm sure. So yeah, at that stage, yeah, he's going to deliberately run over the curb and call it a session there. So there we go, Ed. A very dramatic session, to say the least.
Oh, definitely. But they were all absolutely going for it, which is what we love to see. But it's Martin that tops the field, and not for the first time this year either. So he was clearly confident going in, and that confidence has proven itself to be founded, Eoin.
Absolutely. So let's summarize the grid, starting from Martin on pole. Jack Mayer, probably the man in form, second place on the grid for him. Lahu has P3, getting as close as he could, but not enough. But Saracino, the big surprise name there in fourth place, ahead of Shimon Freilich. Hemmingson, another substitute, doing a fabulous job in P6. Then we've got Dragoon, Watson, Gut, and Krop there in the top 10. So Lunark should also be very proud of themselves based on this qualifying. The drivers who want to stay in the points are Roszak, Tumela, Hamming, Nizio, and Butcher in the second Lunark. Muscat, Russo, and the other Alpha Delta in Licini want to find some improvement. Menno Klont, 19th there, so Multiforce in big trouble unless they can recover the race pace. And then Philip Koenig, we saw him briefly having a massive off, but he is P20. And then you've Andrzejewski, Latinen, Kishore, Gazowski, Hoekstra, Miro, Berzins, Marino, and then the Santen duo of Voice and Van der Smissen, rounding out our complete grid of 30 drivers heading into the warm-up session now.
And I believe Berzins has a grid penalty from the previous race, so I think he may be starting from the very tail of the field then, once we get the grid set up, Eoin.
Yeah, we'll make sure that is noted when we get onto the formation lap. But yeah, tyre strategy at Silverstone, it can be quite spread out. It really depends what you want to go for. But the track will push your tyres, particularly through those sweepers. We know Meggetts and Beckett's will load those tyres up, but also Stowe is very fast. And then those tight corners in Sector 1, Village, the Loop and Aintree, they'll force drivers to think about their tyre strategy as well. So yeah, would you imagine soft onto mediums or hards to the end, Ed?
I think there'll be a few that gamble on the softs or the mediums for the very start, but I think a lot of the field, especially further down, it looks like Menno, and is that one of the TCS off cars actually racing through Maggots, Beckett's Chapel, and the TCS off is off track appropriately there, but Menno very gentlemanly lets him back through. I don't know what's going on here. This is insane for a practice session. The warm-up, sorry.
Yeah, the final warm-up.
Well, Menno's certainly getting some heat into those mediums, but...
Yeah. Oh, he's going for the dive.
He's goading him now. He's goading him. I think that's... it's Tuamela, isn't it? Yeah, I think he's giving Tuamela a few lessons here in how they do things in FS1, is Menno. He knows he's going to have to make his way through the pack, isn't he? So it makes sense to practice in the pack, although I wouldn't be bumping into the side of people before the race even started, because it sets sort of a interesting precedent, let's put it that way. But I'm sure Menno will keep it clean, because we saw in Canada he got absolutely destroyed on the first lap in the huge melee, and then it compromised the rest of his race. He was driving this quite wounded car through the rest of the feature race until having a little bit better time in the sprint, if I remember correctly, scoring a few more points. So Menno certainly looking to recover, and there's his teammate Muscat for Multiforce GP. It definitely feels like, as I said before, Multiforce GP, a team just struggling to hold on, really, as we see, quite literally struggling to hold on the track.
Yeah, so you'd imagine the room the drivers have. Silverstone should be about 5.5 kilometers long, so I can't see how the drivers aren't able to back off. But yeah, you can see now the Multiforce drivers are now pairing up here, so we'll see how this pans out. So Muscat will be following in the wake in between there, so let's go on board with Muscat.
So much
pressure.
So much DRS train, isn't it? It's how to behave. But look at him almost deciding, Muscat trying to squeeze into the gap between the pair of them and then backing out at the last minute. But the Santen there really getting involved here and giving both of them a tow.
Yeah, now the teammate should be alongside. Menno Klunt now is behind, so yeah, it seems like Multiforce getting very competitive there. So I saw the lap times, probably not representative with all that argy-bargy, but yeah, Kevin Voice there, 142 is not time.
And Voice just turned in on him there into the arena section there, at the loop.
Yeah. Yeah, in fairness, Santen and Multiforce in opposite ends of the championship, so it just seems like hopefully just a bit of fun. But yeah, now that looks like a proper overtake for me at Brooklyn, so yeah, we'll see how Voice defends this through left field. Yeah, so beautiful camera work there.
Yeah, Muscat taking the scenic route around the Santen driver, isn't he?
Yeah. Oh my goodness, they're not going to do this, surely not. Oh, thank goodness.
Oh, Menno's way too sensible for you doing 3 wide into that corner there. Cops, given its infamous reputation over the years as a corner you can't overtake that easily into. Without some cooperation, certainly.
Yeah, you need to be aware what the opponent is doing if you're going to try something at Cops. And now we have 5 cars in the tow, so yeah, we can see now one of the NetRex drivers. It could be Martin, it could be Watson, so we'll check out more.
I believe Martin's in the pit, so it must be Watson.
Oh yeah, it is Watson.
Watson was a little disappointing in qualifying, down in, what was it, 8th or 9th, wasn't it, in the end, for Watson? So Mario will hopefully be looking to follow his teammate through up the order as we see Menno again getting involved with Kevin Voice. But we haven't had to talk too much about strategy because they've just kept us entertained throughout the whole warm-up so far, haven't they, with their big trainer cars. And in fact, it is Watson. Here we go, the build sim gets a bit loose and he avoids Rozak, or is it Berzens there, who just goes completely off track.
Yeah, with this carry on, there's only real benefit to have the soft tires on, because you know how quickly they'll wear out on maximum attack.
Yeah, warm-up's not really long enough to get much data about the other tyres, is it?
Yeah,
it looks like looks like our Multiforce GP drivers have had enough and decided to go back to the pit lane. There's Frelick. There's someone who really needs to get his championship back underway. He's decided he's not going to muck around waiting behind everyone else in a big train. He's just going to go out and set some laps in clear air. And clear air is what he needs. Remember, on pole in Montreal, so unlucky to be disconnected from race 1 and then struggled to make progress. We didn't see any of him in race 2 in Montreal, and he ended up retiring from another accident as well. So, and in fact, even before he got disconnected in race 1, there was a mistake by him which let Jack Mayer and Thomas Harvey through, wasn't it? So
that's correct. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, so Frelick's
pace, unfortunately. Yeah.
He's a combination of bad luck and also a couple of mistakes, not quite being able to get the tyres to last as long as he ideally would want. So Frelick up against it is a season that started so well with those 3 wins in a row has started to unravel with the 2 DNFs in the recent past. So Simon, but his pace though continues to be undiminished there in the 38.6s there, nearly 3 tenths faster than Krop. So Simon Frelick, you've got to say, has got a good opportunity here, starting 5th on the grid. If he can clear some of the guys ahead of him, like Giuseppe Saracino, quickly, then he could probably be a big factor in this first race, I think.
Yeah, without doubt. So we'll see if it does come to pass. But now with the final 3 minutes to go in this session, we find another train with the cameras pointing to Jan Dragoon. So he's going to get through on the corner, turn in, and we'll be surely through there. There you go. So there we go. Looks like more cooperative train. They're just doing what they want to do rather than simulating some balls to the wall overtake. So there we go. That should be all well and good for these drivers, just setting the lap times as they see fit. But at the rear of the queue, it's Jassi Lattinen. Check out his on board. He just go perilously wide. Thankfully, he caught it. He's lost a little bit of time, so let's see if he catches up now. Looks strong. Oh, there we go. Car wide.
That wasn't Gazowski bidding it there, was it? In the Hyperion?
I don't know.
It might have been Andrzejewski.
Yeah, Andrzejewski. So yeah, that was one of the Hyperions going wide. And reduces those nearby competitors to 3 cars now. And yeah, hopefully any strategy plans will be decided by now, because there's just so much frolics and fun with the other drivers we saw previously with the Multiforce guys. We'll see if they've got a plan to get some points. But Hamming here solid enough here in this warm-up P7 for HGP. He'll be raring to go to see if he can carry on. But no, unfortunately, Martin's come to a stop here.
Has he run out of fuel?
For
Okay.
a rapid start just before the turn in for Village. So yeah, it seems like he just wants to get a practice start away from the chaos.
Maybe he just wants to have a break before the race begins. We also see a comment in the chat from Josh Downer at the end of qualifying. It says, Martin still got it. And I think that's undeniable. Winner last time out in race 2 in Montreal. Winner in Bahrain at the beginning of the season in race 2 there. Can he get a race 1 feature race win under his belt, Eoin? I mean, it's going to... Holding off Jack Mayer, he's got quite a job on his hands, but if he can do it, then that would be impressive. And it would be without the help of his teammate, because we saw in Montreal, Watson did an amazing job to keep Mayer behind him. Not the case here, so it's Lahore he's going to be hoping that makes a really good start and jumps Jack Mayer, but not himself, obviously, and Lahore will still be fighting for that rare, elusive podium this season that has slipped through his fingers a few too many times, I think, from his point of view. But Silverstone, it seems everywhere we go, Lahoe's quick. It's just getting it all together, putting the race into a single package that works to his benefit is the trouble, and staying out of trouble, indeed, as we see Dragoon in the session.
Yeah, so checker flags now out, a celebratory 360 there. Actually, no, it's gone into 900-degree territory. He didn't manage to rescue the spin, but there we go. Hemmingson, yeah, he's also proving his worth here after qualifying in 6th place, if I recall. And he's now topped the warm-up session. So yeah, he's dead set on competing as best as he can in the absence of Thomas Harvey. I'm sure Thomas will be rooting for him wherever he may be. So now we'll see the Multiforce guys now on a totally different planet to everyone else here. They're able to actually concentrate on their driving, and they finish their lap times there. So all well and good.
Yeah, there we go. Let's hope they're not on a planet with different gravity, because otherwise they're not going to set particularly quick lap times if the wheels aren't touching the ground. And there we go, indeed. Menno does a little Tokyo drift there, or
Yeah.
more of a arena. What's that corner called again? The first corner in the sort of little, it's a loop, isn't it?
Abbey to Farm and Village.
Abbey Farm Village, there we go. I think it was, he bet the farm on that one.
Yeah.
All right, so I guess we're about to get underway then, Eoin, and this is the bit where the excitement starts to build, isn't it? Where everyone is going to form up on the grid, and we're going to see what tyres, what strategy they're all going for, who's going to gamble on the softer tyres, and who's going to just plonk on the hards and go for as many laps as they can until they just start to fade away, and then switch to the softer compound later on.
Yeah, exactly. So with the 15 rows of 2, it means that some of the drivers will still be at club before they launch. So yeah, that'll be an interesting sort of disadvantage for them to have to overcome. But yeah, we'll see now how they all get on. So yeah, Berzin's there is P30, so he has definitely taken a penalty, losing out on 3 positions. So yeah, we'll see more and more drivers filter in. But yeah, we see Vincent Gutt way up the top of the screen there in P8. Mayer P2 should also be getting an appearance in. So there we go. Yeah, the drivers, there we go. That's a beautiful sight. All 30 drivers ready to go. And there's the signal to begin the formation lap, and we can run down the now official grid for race 1 here at Silverstone. So it's Carlos Martin on the pole position. Brilliant set of lap times for him, with Mayer 2nd, Lahue 3rd, and Saracino in 4th. Hemmingson, Dragoon, Watson, and Gutt, with Spark, Rowan, and Netrex all represented there. P9 for Maritz Crops, he's made a gain, and Freilich is down to P10, so he's taken a penalty as well, Ed. Rolshak and Tomella, 11th and 12th. Points paying positions for Hamming, Nizio, and Butcher as of right now, but Jason Muscat is the first driver who will want to make his way into that elusive club. P17 and 18 goes to the Alpha Delta duo of Russo and Lucchini, Klont and Koenig, 19th and 20th. Next up, we have Andrzejewski, who's subbing in for Hyperion, Jassi Latanen, 22nd, Kishore and Guzowski there, 23rd and 24th. Now getting down to the final few rows, we've Hoekstra, Marino, Van der Smissen and Miram, 25th through 28th. And the 15th and final row, it's Voice and Berzins. Yeah, we're just at Maggots and Beckett's now, so yeah, we have a little bit of breathing time as opposed to Montreal. They're very rapid on their formation lap. So there's plenty of preparation now. So let's see, do you have any final thoughts? You're certainly backing the lead two there. Anyone else you might think could succeed today?
I think Saracino is definitely going to be one to keep your eyes on. Of course, EP Lab, like you say, having a difficult season, there's a big opportunity to get some points here. I certainly, even with the group penalty, I think that's from race 2 in Montreal where Frelick caused was blamed for the accident that took him out effectively. Seems a little harsh, but Frelick getting the pain out of the way now. And I think very much if he can make his way through Krop, Gut, Watson and others quickly, then he could well be up there with Jack Mayer. But it really depends on the strategy now. Everyone in the top 10 on the soft tyre, and then it's Rozak to Imela on the medians. So that is the strategy to look out for. I think the softs are going to try and sprint away at this point and get their pit stop for hards in early.
Yeah, certainly with the length of the pit lane, you will actually be able to cut through the final complex, but then it really slows down and then you're only rejoining into farm. So yeah, it is very important that you only visit the pit lane once or maybe twice at most. But with the lights coming on now, this is where the season can certainly change one way or the other, and we're off. Let's see how Martin can hold off. Now it looks like Mayer is alongside. So can he hang on? They're mid acceleration now. They're going to be topping out. It's about 180 kilometers per hour, but Martin hangs on.
Oh!
Oh,
that's Saracino into the side of Laho there. So that's very, very aggressive indeed. He's going to sweep around the outside then through Abbey as they go onto the Hamilton straight then.
Indeed. So yeah, Laho keeping hold of third place. The Canadian commemorative livery for the home team there. They're keeping it for Britain as well. But now Mayer is going to try the double through Brooklands and now into Luffield. And Martin has to hope. He's lost the lead. Mayer takes over, and now this is a crucial point in the lap now into the highest speed points. Unfortunately, Copsey may have left the door a little bit open. Oh, well, yeah, Mayer playing with fire there, but now Martin into Magus and Beckett. It's going to be side by side. Oh,
this is brilliant, isn't it? And Jack Mayer just about holding on by the skin of his teeth there, which is great. For Jack Mayer to lead his home race, but now Laho is going to punish Carlos Martin for going side by side there with his fellow starter on the front rows. We see an incident for Nizio further back then, and it looks like one of the Lunark cars, Krop, is under attack from Frelick. He's actually lost the position on his opening lap.
It gets even more uncomfortable for Frelick. You can just see him in the background there. He is battling hard with Watson now, so Watson seems to have lost out into Stowe, but with lap 1 completed, it is Jack Mayer starting second now into the lead. Martin losing his place. Laho, Saracino and Hemmingson all staying put in the top 5. There we go. Watson down to 11th, so Frelick regains his P10. Andrzejewski 22nd, keeping a hold of things, but Chris Butcher unfortunately losing that 15th place that he had. He's now dead last, and he'll have to try and figure something out on strategy if he's going to find any way back for Lunark, who are obviously buzzing after their first runs in anger back in Canada. So they have to hope that their fortunes lie with Krop now.
Exactly, as here's Andrzejewski trying to make a move up the inside of Perseus Miram, but Miram, the Canadian, holding him off in the Pixel 8 car. So the Hyperion stuck down in 22nd and 24th respectively, with his teammate not far behind either. But Jack Mayer already now has got about half a second lead on Carlos Martin at the present moment, with a big train forming behind Alex Laho. So Lowe's got to hope that he can
Oh,
defend it.
that's Koenig.
Oh, just like we saw in qualifying, isn't it? He's lost it on the exit of Copse.
Yeah, so he has just about enough space to rejoin. His teammate would have been aware what was going on. So Lattinen now through for Friesland. Koenig's now defending from Nizio. DRS obviously yet to activate. We're about to see the lap 3 signal to be given, and therefore DRS will be allowed from this lap onwards. So there we go. Lap 3:26 will begin. Mayer setting another very strong final sector to keep himself on par with Martin, and therefore keeping that half a second lead. We can check out the leaderboard on the left hand side of the screen to see qualifying results now transferred into the race. Hamming +5 there, brilliant stuff for him, but Watson is a big unfortunate, down 4 places.
Exactly, Frank Hamming, as we keep saying, the guy who, the silent assassin, doesn't always qualify particularly eye-catchingly, but in the races, especially on the first couple laps, is immediately on it, and we saw him with that alternate strategy almost get on the podium in race 2 in Montreal from pole position, as we see Andrzejewski having another go at Perseus Miram at the Interbrooklands and Lovefield essentially, but nothing doing then for the Hyperion.
Yeah, still plenty of time to go. It is encouraging to see Andrzejewski competing for more places. Let's check out how the leaders are getting on. So yeah, Martin is making a small gain here in the first sector. Can he improve on that into the second now that DRS is available? No, actually Mayer has reverted the loss and he's equalised it again. So on DRS, Martin will just have to stay put for the moment. Who another half a second behind, so it's almost a perfect queue here. Half a second, and another half a second. So there we go, first to fourth, almost nothing to separate them. But yeah, Muscat has made some gains himself. Now P13 for Multiforce, and TCS offs Tomella, a fellow substitute for another lead driver. That would be, of course, sorry, it's Munier would be normally in that car, but today it's Tomella. Saracino he's set a brilliant lap time, fastest of all, a 1:38.9. But Lahu not able to worry for the moment.
Yeah, and he was fastest in the first and last sectors as well, with Mayer fastest in the middle sector. As we see another move being made by Muscat, he gets through on a Tuo Mella, so this is their fellow substitutes, but I think Jason Muscat will be not thinking about that at all. It's just another person he has to overtake, so there's no solidarity between substitutes at all, as we see Keyshaw go side by side with, is that Lucchini. And here we go, Keyshaw's going to have to try up the inside then into Copse. Let's hope he's given enough space then, and Lucchini sweeps around, and they touch. And Lucchini just holds on, but that was very, very marginal there.
I believe those two drivers are using different compounds of tyres, so yeah, I can just see it now. Lucchini's on the mediums and Kishore on the softs. That's certainly very brave for Lucchini to have held his breath and make the turn in properly. So now we'll hit the 5th lap when Mayer crosses the line. And yeah, it should be about the same as we check out the replay from Kacper Nizio's point of view. He's currently last place, so something obviously went very wrong for him. And this could be a DNF, as a matter of fact. Yeah, so it's a collision there.
Butcher.
Oh, it's one of the, yes, that's Butcher. That's what happened to Butcher. And that's
I did think there might have been damage to the Lunark as well. Now we see Nizio, an innocent victim there. One of the Santens and Frieslands involved in this as well, in the tail end there. So it really happened with, I believe it was, and there's of Koenig losing it on the exit of Copse a few laps later as well. He's getting too wide on the curb, and the rear's losing traction, and he's a bit of a passenger from that point on. Did well to keep it out of the wall though.
Yeah, he was very, very quick on the button to make sure he stayed out of the wall, but yeah, there's a little bit of tarmac from the old pit exit, or on the national layout there. They're maybe still using that pit lane, so yeah, it's good that he still had the chance to respond appropriately and then get back, turned left to make sure he could rejoin the circuit. So yeah, he was on the break straight away. So fair play to him. But now with Jack Mayer, his lead is just constantly hovering at the 0.4 to half second deficit, or margin, I should say. So Martin, yeah, this is as close as he's been for a while now, Ed. But is he? Oh, he was tempted. He was
no need to crash into Jack Mayer there at Stowe. That could have had disastrous consequences if he'd gone for that. And Jack Mayer turned in, having not anticipated he'd do that. But yeah, certainly there's a big DRS train now behind Mayer. Basically, all of the top 6 with Gut starting to fall away and form a train of his own, with Hamming all over the back of him. So the DRS is keeping Carlos Martin in play at the moment. I wonder he might try and undercut Jack Mayer rather than trying to stay out longer than him. But Carlos tends to be pretty easy on his tyres, though, especially having lost the lead. He might go into sort of strategic mode, as you see Hemmingson all over the back of Saracino as well, trying to get the Spark car up into the top 4. But the EP Lab holding firm. Saracino doing a wonderful job so far with 20 laps to go.
Yeah, that is absolutely true. But yeah, the undercut, yeah, certainly with the amount of cars still active on the track, it looks like 28 drivers are on the road, and Rorschach is pitting with Nizio on the DNF there, unfortunately. So yeah, the undercut is risky if there's so many DRS trains. So yeah, I think the drivers have to probably mind the tyres for a little bit longer, and then probably about lap 11 might be tempted to come in. But yeah, maybe one driver feels the need to take a big risk and make sure the one and only stop is done when there is plenty of room to do it. So we'll keep an eye out as things develop. So Mayer continuing that just evergreen lead he has, but maybe Leroux has a strong chance at Martin, so a little bit of a reversal of fortunes. Unfortunately now it's a little bit too quick into Stowe. Oh, he's all 4 wheels off there. Leroux too quick on the turn in, so he does need the runoff to rescue him. So let's see if Hemmingson as well here at the back of this train in 5th, with Dragoon in between, of course, there in 6th. So yeah, those drivers aching to try and break their way through those strong the triple threat of those drivers. They haven't been slotted out with the top 3 all race, Ed.
No, they haven't. It's been pretty static, like I say, because of that DRS train. We find them all in. Moritz Krupp, by the way, doing very well to get the Lunark up into the top 9, holding off Simon Frelick very convincingly at the present moment. But we've got these 2 trains with Mayer at the front of one and Vincent Gut in the lead of the other. What I think might also happen is Patrick Rozak is about 63 seconds behind the lead, down in 29th and last of those still running. So what I think might happen is when they start to close on Rozak, that might be when we start to see the leaders pit, because if you get held up by traffic here, that could really influence your strategy.
Absolutely, and with the amount of cars that Rorschach will have to yield for under blue flags, that will definitely cause a lot of disruption. But obviously if he gets off at the Hangar Straight, for example, there is a lot of room, but yeah, he has very little chances to rejoin the track. So yeah, let's see now Martin in DRS on Mayer. Unfortunately he's still too far back to try anything. Cavalier, so he's gone wide this time. So yeah, those drivers are really giving it 110% commitment now, and they just need those rubber bits on the sides to cooperate for a little bit longer. But now it's lap 8. Yeah, it is lap 8 now. So,
and I've realised something, Eoin, because I said earlier that Martin could just take it easy and save tyres behind Jack Mayer, but he can't do that because he's got Leroux all over the back of him waiting to pounce. And this was the start then off the line for Jack Mayer. Had the inside already, of course, but Martin, I thought, did really well to just hang it around the outside here through that first sector. Kept it pretty clean, it must be said as well.
Fantastic cooperation between the 2 drivers, kept it clean. Yeah, Mayer showed his offensive, and Martin eventually just ran out of time and couldn't hang on any further at Brooklands and Luffield. It was too difficult to cut back. We're on board now with Kevin Voice here for Santen, and he will be alongside the...
I think Voice made a lot of places here, didn't he? So look, his teammate on the left, on the Pixelate cars on the right as well, and he's going to go around pretty much the outside of both First couple of corners, sees a
Whoa.
crash in front of him, just goes around the outside of it. Wow, that's good spatial awareness there from Voice.
Yeah, brilliant reactions there. So the other gains there for the Pixel 8 guys as well. So yeah, we saw plenty of solid driving there, and of course a little bit of a tangle that knocked a few drivers back. Yeah, Voice there with Hoekstra, I believe that is, getting stuck in, and they're going to have to keep trying and seeing if there is any further opportunities for points.
Saracino, he's dropped 2 seconds off the pace while we were watching that replay, so I think there's been a couple of pit stops here, haven't there?
Hemmingson, yeah, we missed it, unfortunately. Hemmingson down to 11th, so that does,
Hemmingson spin then? I don't think he's going to
mistake,
pit.
yeah.
Yeah, this is why I shouldn't be looking at the replay, I should be looking at the timing screen. But anyway, the action continues then, and I think Hemmingson must have made a mistake, maybe tangled with Saracino, and that's what's led the gap to emerge. As we see Watson under attack now from Hemmingson, and Frelick desperately trying to defend from the pair of them.
Yes, this is crucial now for Frelick. If he knows he can benefit from the misfortunes of others, then he can really start to think about his tire change. But Hemmingson now trying to get back into the top 10. He's going to get alongside into Brooklands over Watson. Luffield. Oh, he's already made the move. So yeah, Watson doesn't fancy the battle. He needs to think the process and try and win it in the pit lane. But now we'll see the top 3 guys. They've pulled away now. Saracino had no more partnership with the loss of the Spark driver, and Vincent Good filling in for his teammate now at this stage. So yeah, let's see how these 3 get on now that they're split up and ready to compete on their own. No more distractions, and it's going to be Lehu. Let's observe his movement. I think he's sitting back. Martin, again, he wants to show his aggression, but he can't do it with Stowe the way it is, so quick. Very medium speed corner there. Saracino, his job now is just to stay alert to what's going on behind him. He can't really think about the podium unless something were to happen.
And I think Percy's Mirror in some trouble there. That's why we saw yellow in sector 2. But here's what happened behind Saracino. So Hemmingson has made a mistake earlier on through Luffield, essentially, and through the Brooklands and Luffield, essentially.
Yes.
And so that's what's left him exposed, I think. And then he's clearly had some contact or something that dropped him down just behind Watson, who he just got by a few seconds ago. So yeah, that's left Saracino on his own, and look at Carlos Martin having a little think up the inside. And the problem is, if he goes for a move and it doesn't work out, then he's going to be very, very vulnerable to Lehu, who's just continued to close up. I think Martin has got teams championship to think about. Mayer has got drivers. Leho, he's just going to absolutely go for the win here. He doesn't care about any of the championships because he's not really fighting for any of them at the moment. So I think he's going to be the big threat here to Jack Mayer if he can get past Martin.
Exactly. So Lehu with that determination to succeed. It's eluded him for so long. Obviously, Saudi Arabia, when the broadcast was unfortunately unable to perform, we didn't get to see him win on camera. But the record books were there on duty, and it showed him winning the first race of the night back in Jeddah. So let's see if Lehu can carry on this form and try and make sure that his supporters club get a result. So yeah, plenty of other drivers love his misfortunes as well. So let's see.
Oh, and that Watson going into the pits then. So Netrex the first to pull the trigger then in that pack in the top 10. So this is an interesting move for Watson then. What tyres is he going to go onto? You would think with 15 laps left to go, it's the mediums then. So they've all tried to get the softs to go as long as they can. And this is important now for Watson to try and get an amazing outlap here to try and lose as little time as possible. He's going to have a good gap behind Hoekstra that he's going to come out into, I think.
Yeah, Martin will want to. Yeah, Martin will want that intel from his teammate. And now that he's probably got the heave-ho instruction, he's
look
out
at
the
that.
door.
Because he was stranded on the outside because of the way that Mayer was defending there. And look at him getting right back into the slipstream. That created a little opportunity for Leho, but Leho, the rear tyres just started to drift a bit, and Martin really pushing to the inside here into Copse, and they again leave just enough space for each other. Mayer loses it.
gets loose on the curb, but he has rescued it. But now Martin has got his lead back. He conceded it on the first lap, but now heading into lap 12, he will have it regained. So may have to think about the pits. With the Who on the attack now, the TOP car is exposed with a little bit of a mishap, and it's all unraveling for Mayer and Lahu on the inside of Stowe. Yeah, it's job done, and they're all going to pit at the same time, so they've all got the same idea. Got to mind the speed limit. Oh, that was detracting from Mayer. They lost his pace, and Vincent Gutt also adapts his car into the pit lane. So the new leader is Saracino.
Wow, there we go. So interesting strategy from EP Lab. They clearly think the soft can go a little bit longer, or they want to do a few less laps on the mediums. But this is absolutely crucial in terms of the pit stops. Who's going to get out first? Will it be Laho, who's right at the end of the pit lane, has got least distance to travel, or will it be Martin? Here we go, and it is going to be Martin, but Laho gets out crucially in front of Jack Mayer.
Yes, this is a huge development in the story of the race. Let's see how Watson does with his undercut as well. Can he make any inroads?
Martin crucially has jumped Hoekstra in the order as well, so he's got Hoekstra in between himself, Laho and Mayer.
Yeah, well spotted, Ed. So, yeah, Hoekstra is now a driver going long in the way of Lahu and Mayer, but of course this is for a legitimate position, so there's no need for Hoekstra to concede. He can push, but the opening at Luffield, can Mayer spot the gap? Oh, it's going to be close with Hoekstra loose as well, and that spares Lahu for the moment. Hoekstra now in the slipstream. He's got to be very careful though. He'll pick his line into Copse, and yeah, it seems like Mayer has learned his lesson. Those outside curbs, now that he's on fresh tires, are not as big a threat, but this is massive for Lahu now. He's clear, and he has a chance to burst clear now with only Martin really ahead, but on DRS I don't think there's any window there for Lahu, and now Mayer will be through. There's no doubt about it at this stage. Hoekstra should, yeah, he should realise maybe it's time to pit.
And a massive gap to Watson as well, so they weren't really in danger of being undercut there, but Watson definitely would be hoping to jump the guys coming into the pits right now in the form of Hamming, Frelick, Hemmingson and Saracino.
Right, yeah, so it is another lead change, and it's Tomella for TCS off, so this is crucial for Alex Lahu. Just
now we've got the medium runners. People who started the race on the mediums are now leading, apart from Muscal, Jason Muscal for Multiforce, who's still yet to pit, as we see one of the Hyperions just coming out right behind Hemmingson and ahead of Simon Frelick.
Yeah, so Tomella, he'll have that information now reaching the halfway point of the race, how those medium tires get on, so Lahu can push.
Oh, and look at this, Saracino right behind Jack Mayer. So even pitting later, Saracino has actually gained a lot of time because of Jack Mayer really struggling at the end of his stint there. And you saw Martin and Lahu made the moves at exactly the right point, and the sort of benefits have doubled in this stint as we see Martin trying to get past Federico Russo into Copse, and Russo surely got to concede here on the outside, but he's certainly got no intention of doing so and has to go off track as a result and rejoins again side by side into Magnus and Beckett's.
Yeah, I hope Martin saw the Alpha Delta driver in his mirror.
And now Laho's all over him.
Yeah, so now the opposite stage of tire life. We've seen now Russo going into that halfway point of the race, but he'll be beaten to the braking zone. Yeah, actually no, he's going to stick it in the middle point of the
This is disastrous for Jack Mayer, isn't it, in terms of winning this race? But round the outside he goes. Does he? No.
Well, Lahu, that's the driving style that he's entrusted himself with it. Indeed. Yeah, let's see if it can actually pay off with Muscat in the pit now. That leaves Tomella on his own for the time being, with Lucchini trying to pressure him into a mistake. The leaders, at least we're going to find them in the lead again very soon, are 5 seconds down the road, so they now can carry on their battle without any competition who are on alternate strategies.
Yeah, but you see that move from Mayer on Russo into turn 1. That's not usually where you see overtakes because it's such a high-speed entry to that first corner, isn't it? And on the old tyres, he knew Russo would be stranded on the outside. So brave stuff from Jack Mayer and Saucino making the more sensible move in the loop at the more technical corner, of the tighter corner, and sticking close behind. So Saucino has worked his way back into this somehow, and he's pit later than those ahead. So I wouldn't rule out the EP Lab driver, the Italian in the Italian team. You see Hemmingson side by side with, I think that's Marino, his teammate. Marino cuts him off. So Marino doing his teammate's job for him, and Frelick now gets an opportunity around the outside. He's got to be super brave here to pull this one off, Owen.
Yeah, and Frelick, we know he's a courageous driver, and he will complete the move eventually. But both drivers will be on DRS, so he's actually a bit slow heading onto the hangar straight.
He wasn't going to be intimidated there, in the words of Carlos Sainz Jr.
Yeah. No intimidation required here for Hemmingson. He feels he can carry on and score a haul of points on merit. We now see Russo getting into the pits. That just leaves Tumella now. And Lucchini, of course. So Russo for Alpha Delta out of the way of the chasing pack, and we'll see if he can gain on softer tires. I'd imagine they have the life to make it to the end, I'd predict. So let's just see what Hemmingson can do now. He's taking on Federico Marino, who is also going out for the long stint. Oh, he's hit the back! Into the back!
And now that's surely going to come through as well.
Yeah, it's a golden opportunity for Frelick. He's not going to let that one slip by. I just hope that front wing is intact. The end plates.
Somebody going straight off there. At Brooklands into the wall.
Yeah, yellow flags out in sector 2. Unfortunately, yeah, I was looking at.
Might have been Yassi Latinen, who I think is retired from the race now as well. But that's a big shame if true. But there we go. Latinen in the pits actually, so I think it might have been Justin van der Smissen we saw Bennett there.
Yeah. Yeah, it must have been one of the Santen guys. Yeah, Van der Smissen, I suspect that was it. So yeah, Van der Smissen spun. I think there was a little bit of contact, but yeah, he'd be okay. Hopefully,
there is Marino. Marino's fine, thankfully. After being, I think it was just a misjudgment there. So Marino didn't get the run off the corner that Hemmingson expected. Hemmingson plonked into the back of him, and someone Frelick was like, right, okay, this gives me the chance to go side by side, and in comes Marino, understandably. And we're going to see a replay of what happened to Van der Smissen, maybe. Well, no, just this collision I was talking about.
Yeah. So Hemmingson is chasing Marino, and you can see his speed. Yeah. It was Hemmingson, obviously fully committed, ready to go, and there's Van der Smissen out of the race. He spun it hard out into Brooklands. Yeah, he'll hopefully try again in race 2. There you go. You can see the big tail snap, I suppose. Yeah, that was just too much to bear.
That's a bit of a horrible way for Van der Smissen's race, which wasn't going too well up to that point to end. Because, yeah, you never want it to just suddenly snap evilly on you. But Martin now, with Lucchini having pit, has got up to second, 1.9 behind Tuomela. So Tuomela is he finally going to pit with 10 laps to go, or is he just going to stay out and try and have a glory run, as we see Laho going very wide and potentially giving a chance to Jack Mayer and Saracino behind him?
Yeah, looking at Tuomela's lap times, he's in the 141 territory, whereas the leaders should be in 139. So Tuomela, realistically, yeah, you might imagine he can go to the end, but yeah, whatever strategy TCS off have in mind, it does mean that Lahu should have faith in those tires to go to the end.
No, I think he's. No, I know he is pitting. There we go.
Oh, he's now pitted. Okay.
For it to, because I saw the gap closing and I thought, oh, he must be pitting, and then I thought, oh no, it isn't. And here we go, Dragoon under attack then from Vincent Gert on the inside of him there. Really beautiful move there, set up well. Club, and Vincent's going to have the inside here with 10 laps remaining, but Dragoon is going to try and hang it right on the outside into turn 1. Again, very, very brave stuff there from the Rowan GP driver.
Yeah, fabulous play there from Jan. Now we'll see what DRS has in store now. It's Vincent. He's going to be the first driver to get the activation, but of course Dragoon has Hamming's slipstream as well, so that should spare him a little bit. And indeed, Marit's Crop is doing an incredible job there, P8 for Lunar, and he has no signs of stopping. He's got a very strong car underneath him now. But back to the race leaders, lap 17, getting further and further involved now. We have the four-way duel for victory between 4 different teams. So Martin wanting to secure the pole and win combo, with Lahoo trying to stop him and making sure he can get his second half of the campaign off to he has to rescue it after mixed feelings in Montreal.
Yeah, and remember, Saracino, his tyres are a lap fresher than everyone in front of him because they all pit on the same lap. Those top 3, and Jack Mayer nearly losing it on the exit of Stowe there. But Lahoo all over the back of Carlos Martin then fighting for the lead. And surely Alex Lahoo is going to do some kind of demon move here. Carlos Martin looks like he can't break away at the present moment. As Hemmingsen continues to harass Simon Frelick. I'm sure would love to see the back of him and catch up to Moritz Krop, but 4 seconds in front of him, so no DRS for Simon Frelick and plenty of DRS for Martin Hemmingsen in the Spark car.
Yeah, those drivers for 9th and 10th equally matched last lap, as indeed are the top 4 as well, but is Saracino and Mayer. They're quicker since they have a stronger slipstream, so they'll have to try and figure something out if they want to get further up the standings than their current placements. Yeah, they're just so equally matched, all in the 27s in Sector 1. So yeah, they're mirroring every move so far. But yeah, with Hamming 3.5 seconds down on the interval, it seems like there's only those 4 drivers that could be in contention for the win. But Lucchini now he's on softs after a long stint on mediums. He's actually making great waves with 139.6 as his best lap, which was his most recent lap as well, Ed.
He's got 8-second gap in front of him to Hemmingsen though, so if he can catch up to that DRS train, it could really play into his hands a bit later on. And Hemmingsen in turn getting the DRS from Frelick, as we said earlier. But yeah, this is going to be really, really interesting, the top 4 battle, I think, which way it's going to go. Because I think Martin is going to defend for his life and Lahoo is going to just attack like crazy, and Jack Mayer and Saracino could well just hang back and wait for the fireworks and try and take advantage when they can. Because Jack Mayer, whatever position he finishes in the top 4, he's going to take the championship lead in the drivers at the end of this, especially with Frelick down in the pack. So you've got to think, if you're thinking championship, Jack Mayer doesn't need to win, but he dearly would love to get maximum points here and do as much damage to a Mike Quinton championship while he's away as possible.
Yeah, that is a very big dilemma now for Mayer. And of course, the reverse grid draw coming up later, that could also factor in his mind.
Yeah, we see Hamming in the background trying to break the toe from Dragoon, who seems to be on fire himself in this race. Really impressed by Jan Dragoon, his defensive and attacking driving. He's just front and back. It's all been happening for Jan Dragoon here, isn't it?
Certainly is, yeah. Jan having a strong showing, but yeah, just needs to keep going and see what happens. But yeah, Mayer is obviously debating, should I make an overtake and gain 4 points, or am I on 16, which will give me a 9-point swing in the championship, so -5 to +9 in the lead of the standings. I think fastest lap is beyond the reach of these guys now. It should be those competitors on low fuel. And Lahoo for the lead. Oh, nearly.
But he could set himself well up here for turn 1, or potentially into the loop here. Round the outside as they go into Club and Vale. But Martin, yet again, just holds the inside line, and now Jack Mayer's all over the back of it.
Yeah, so this is the break that Mayer probably hoped to see, but he couldn't force the issue himself. He needed Lahoo to compete for position, and now, yeah, he's got to mind his manners from farm. into
around the
Village.
outside. That's clinical if he can pull this one off, but Leho continues to harass him around the outside. And now Saracino is going to get a lovely slipstream off either of them, but Mayer has somehow gotten back up into second position there, so that really backfired for Alex Lehoux.
Oh, he's not done yet though, Ed. One more shot at position.
That's a late break, and that's going to leave him very wide. In fact, he drops down to fourth. There we go. Saracino now on the podium there. So yet again for Alex Lehoux, it falls apart right near the end with 6 laps to go. Just 2 little mistakes there. One going a bit wide, and the other just later on the brakes than the car could handle, trying to retake the position. And Jack Mayer will be absolutely licking his lips now because the win is back on.
Absolutely, and he knows what it's like to deal with Martin, having overtaken him once and having lost position to him once. So these drivers very alert to one another now, and with another 6 laps to go at this stage, there's going to be one last real competition between them. But Saracino, his ambitions are certainly to hang on to the podium now that he's got it. He'll do whatever it takes within reason to do it. So yeah, he's driven such a remarkably calm race. He hasn't had any real distress signs as opposed to Hemmingson, who had that mistake. So Saracino made a very brave call on the strategy, and it's paid off beautifully. He had that deficit to the leaders, and then he made the pit stop and caught it right back up.
Problem for him is now he's got a very angry and fired up Lehoux right behind him, who's almost certainly going to try and use the DRS to split one up the inside. So Saracino needs to have his wits about him here. The Academy FSR race winner, the Italian, doing such a superb job in this race, and could he even snatch a podium on his debut in FS1? That would be a big story here, not just for himself but for EP Lab, who desperately need those points, Eoin. But up ahead, Mayer continues to chase down Carlos Martin with 5 laps to go.
Yeah, and of course the Butler Motorsport team is no more, so they just want to make sure they overtake that outfit before the new Lunark name has a chance to catch up to them. So yeah, this is ideal news for EP Lab to get a massive turn of fortunes in the campaign. But what matters for Lehoux now is to get back on the podium and make sure we can witness the very best of him today, and then whatever happens in the reverse grid draw, he'll be ready to take it on with full commitment. But yeah, it seems like another leveling out for the time being. It will require Mayer to get stuck into Martin to change anything, as we saw previously with Lehoux trying his best to go for the win and losing out in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. Also impressive has been Frank Hamming, his defensive driving against Dragoon. He's constantly been trying to break the toe in the background and taking some very, very interesting lines down the straights. But of course, it's not just Dragoon, it's Gut and Krop as well in the Lunark team that you were just talking about there. And I believe is Krop being slowly caught by Hemmingson, or is Hemmingson a few seconds too far back? There he is. So I think if we go back down to Lucchini on the soft tyres, his pace is at 140.2 last lap round. Frelick and Hemmingson. Hemmingson set a 140.4. He's got back ahead of Frelick, and Frelick set a 141.6. I think that's why the positions are swapped. It was a bad lap for Simon Frelick, and look at that, actually. Saracino on the lap fresher tyres actually has got a slightly better traction going through Luffield than on the back of Jack Mayer. So Mayer may not have the second place sewn up just yet, and that could well allow Carlos Martin the breathing room he needs to hold on for the next 4 laps.
True that, but let's see if this pace carries on through the high speed corners with the tyre benefit that Saracino has. Yeah, DRS, it's gonna spread things out and then it'll close them up again. So yeah, not as good there compared to what we saw in Sector 1, but Mayer, he's getting closer and closer. So with 4 laps to go, once they cross the line for lap 23, this is definitely the put up or shut up territory. And we'll know for sure if Martin can go back to back in race wins, or if Jack Mayer can complete his hat-trick of podiums with a win after not quite making the grade against Harvey or Martin in either of those Montreal events. So now this is a real you know, a real opportunity for Mayer if he wants to take it. But what matters is he hangs on to what he's got.
Yeah, we also saw a move back there between Vincent Gut getting past Jan Dragoon, even though Gut's on lap all the time. So a little opportunity there, I think, on the exit of Stowe that he took full advantage of. In fact, you can see them both in the background still, with Dragoon now with DRS on Vincent Gut, trying to fight back then into Brooklands. And there we go. Jan Dragoon stubbornly refuses to yield, but Vincent Gut is going to hold the inside there, force Dragoon to go the long way round and maintain that position, which all this battling is allowing Hamming to escape and allowing Moritz Krop to slowly engage on them.
Right, sure. Yeah, they're going to go a little bit neck and neck into Cops. Oh no, that's loose for Hamming.
Dragoon,
and here comes it's Dragoon, excuse me. Now it's Moritz Krop on board. Let's see if he can exploit what has just occurred with the drop off there at Cops. No, it doesn't look like
in DRS range, but so is Dragoon actually, who seems really fired up. Then up the inside he goes, and Vincent Gut completely opens the door, but Dragoon goes way too deep and loses 2 positions almost.
Yeah, he's got one last fiber of hope here. Yeah, the string is breaking, and it's now Moritz Krop able to swift in and take the position. So it's another case of going for broke and having your platform snatched underneath you. So yeah, brilliant patience for Krop.
I think Dragoon tried to make a move on Hamming and it didn't work out, and that was what left him vulnerable there to everyone with the DRS behind him. Look at this, speaking of which, look at Carlos Martin being absolutely beared down upon now by Mayer, as Saracino desperately trying to anticipate what Alex Lahou will do. He's just absolutely unpredictable at the moment, is Lahou. He's either going to dive one up the inside, potentially round the outside, or will he just hang back, wait for the last lap, and then wait for the tyres to be relatively worn, and that may be when he'll strange.
Yeah, he's got his decision making. Have to start his preparations, and then when the opportunity comes, he's got to take it. But at the moment, it just seems like Mayer needs to make a side-by-side effort into Stowe and possibly line something up into the final complex, but it's too late at the moment. He's not going to make that time up. So with 2 to go once they cross the line, a little bit understeery there for Mayer. He didn't quite nail the corners he would have wished to. So that's Martin able to notice that, I'm sure, and just keep going. But Lahou wants the podium back, and he's going to really put Saracino under the microscope and make sure he's really making a name for himself in FS1. So on board camera shot. Let's see what Lahou can do. He obviously can't make the move into Village from that distance, but he's got to hang on to the position to loop and then Aintree. And it doesn't look like it's going to happen either, so the leaders are just so evenly matched today.
Yeah, I think the thing that's saving Martin is the straight line speed of that Netrex. It's really good. It's just a shame that Amari Watson, who's, remember, was first to pit of the leading group, got caught in traffic, seemed to get into an incident, and is now down in 17th behind Marino in the other EP lab. So certainly not Watson's race so far, of him finishing even at the points. Andrzejewski is holding on to that final point by quite a margin at the moment, by 17 seconds in fact. As we see Martin actually start to break away, maybe saved a bit of the tyre life for approaching this final lap then, and potentially Mayer is really going to struggle, and maybe even to keep Saracino behind then, because we saw how much he struggled at the end of the first stint on the softs. The mediums, yeah, they're a bit more hardy, but you can't afford to take too much out of them. Oh, and is Lahou gone?
Oh no, he's gone. He's seemingly vanished.
I think he's dropped it at Chapel.
Oh god, oh gosh, I cannot explain what is happening here.
Oh,
yeah, he's pinned it. Oh,
missing the rear wheel, and yellow flags fly, but Alex Lahou, who did so well in this race, looked to have at least the top 4 finish to his name, and now he's not even going to get that. So TCS off racing, losing out big time, and the curse, it strikes again, Owen. It doesn't seem to want to go away, does it? Maybe we should stop broadcasting these races, at least for Alex's sake.
yeah, here's the onboard replay to confirm. Yeah, just a small jump on the curb into Chapel, and then he's gone completely sideways.
Rear wheel's
He's
off
unable
as well.
to catch it. Rear wheel has flung off the car, so it's a DNF for Lahu. With the final lap getting underway now, it's almost like we're devastated. Just to, after all the excitement, it's really a shame to see one of those brilliant and strong competitors out of the race completely. But we'll see now with the championship permutations very much in Mayer's column. He probably cannot catch up realistically unless there's something going on in those final Maggots and Beckett sections of the trackhead.
Yeah, we just saw through Luffield that Martin's tyres, they just there was a bit of complaining from the rears there, so there might be a sniff of an opportunity here for Mayer if he's managed those mediums well enough. Can he get the run he needs? He's going to get DRS, but I don't think he's quite close enough. I think Carlos has done enough here, and it's going to be Saracino that takes a dream debut podium here from FSR to FS1. The podiums everywhere he goes, Saracino.
Yeah, and his profile is going to grow considerably. But Carlos Martin, he's on the verge of going back to back, something that has only really been done by the championship contenders. So there we go across the line. Carlos Martin takes the victory in race 1, 26 laps of pure brilliance.
Oh, look at this, Crop going fifth. Oh my goodness, and there's Dragoon up the inside with late effort. Dragoon spins, but it's Crop that's going to take fifth, Eoin. Wow, and it flew wide for seventh there between Hemmingson, Gutt and Frelick.
And Hemmingson rescues the race at the very end. Vincent Gutt, the big loser of that group. So I want to see a replay ASAP. Heigo providing it post-haste. So let's see, here's Crop
up the inside then at Stowe. And absolutely refusing is Vincent Gutt to give way, and this allows Dragoon to get right in it as well. So Crop round the outside. Gutt then gets attacked himself by the other Spark Hemmingson. And there we go. So that's how Hemmingson got through there. So there was a bit of strategy there from Spark, it seemed, sort of.
Well, they didn't get the ideal outcome. They lost out on some points, unfortunately. But yeah, Carlos Martin is hit
out of fuel on the run.
Oh, dear. Yeah, I hope it's just a case of running out of fuel.
That's how hard Jack Mayer pushed him there.
Yeah.
Wow, 2 in a row for Carlos Martin. That's going to do his and Netrex's championship a world of good.
Yeah, so it's only the likes of the TOP guys that have won 2 in a row, but Carlos Martin has changed that. He secured pole position. He lost the lead early on, but he never gave up and ensured that it was his name back on top when it mattered most at the checkered flag. Jack Mayer, new championship leader, he got the crucial 20 points to overhaul Mike Quint and make sure he has a huge cushion now. Saracino, the substitute supreme, taking P3 there for EP Lab, so they've more than doubled their score in just this one event, and with one more to play. Hamming in that melee, so he was on his own. Hamming had nothing to do with that, but it was Maritz Kropp who made the huge gain at the end, with Dragoon slipping by. Hemmingson getting the job done ahead of the unlucky Gutt, missing all of those points. But yeah, you'll have to try again in race 2. Shimon Frelick gaining 1 position in the end, but it was a highly charged race for him. But he's got to keep going now and see what happens next. And Noah Tomella, a very quiet race, but he gets TCS off's only points in the end, actually. So there we go. In the remaining point scoring positions, it's Mirko Licchini, Jason Muscat, Federico Russo, Paul Andrzejewski, and Federico Marino. So absolutely tremendous day for EP Lab, and they'll have to try and make sure they repeat the trick. Amari Watson, his worst result in dry conditions all season long there, getting no points. Christers Berzins, Perseus Miram, Philip Koenig, and Patrick Roshak complete the top 20. So Build Sim, another big name, not able to live up to their minimum expectations, I'm sure. Now, the final page of results, it's Menno Klont, Jussi Lahtinen, Kevin Voice, and then Lahu will be classified 24th, even though he did crash out towards the end. Chris Butcher had trouble on lap 1, but he made it to 24th. And the very end, and I think, Lahu and Butcher swapped around there. So, That'll be, I'm sure, summarized at the end. But Kishore, Hoekstra, Van der Smissen, Gozowski, and Nizio all out with the race head.
Yeah, it definitely was a bit brutal at points there, but a lot of brilliant stories there. So 18 points for Jack Mayer. He was 5 behind Mike Quint going into this race. So now 18 minus 5 is going to be, I believe, 13. So he's now gone from 5 points behind to, I think, 13 points ahead with another race still to go as well. So every chance that Jack Mayer could have a big lead at the end of this with that crucial second place. But Martin is really the form man at the moment, taking a brilliant win there.
Yeah, absolutely. And now race 2 will be coming up very soon. It's a 17-lap sprint. So it could be a case of the medium tires. They could get you a long distance. But yeah, there'll be plenty to deliberate. But for now, let's take a quick pause break and get our breaths back. So please stay tuned and we'll see you again very soon. And it's a warm welcome back, viewers. The second race of FS1 at the British Grand Prix will be starting very, very soon. And we're glad to see the reverse grid pole draw has been made. And the beneficiary is Martin Hemmingson. So the replacement for Thomas Harvey, having finished down in 8th place, I think it was, he now gets the it's the melee for P7. Yeah, he got that last minute result, and he actually got the lucky number. So he starts ahead of Jan Dragoon and Maurits Kroped.
Yeah, I think it was Krop who triumphed in that P5 battle between, I think, 5 or 6 guys there. So that was impressive, but it's going to be Hemmingson on the front row with Jan Dragoon, the two having fought closely together with Krop, who's right behind them as well. Whereas our podium finishers are going to be 7th, 6th and 5th essentially, which is going to make things slightly more tricky for them. But as you say, Hemmingson, teammate to Thomas Harvey, crucial for Spark that he takes points off of Harvey's rivals here with him absent, and could well mix things up. Certainly got the pace to stay out front, but there's a lot of challenges from behind, and some people are going to try and get the medium, so that's a long time as well.
Yeah, I remember back 2 weeks ago, I thought everyone was on a very similar strategy, but eventually the data loaded in. But let's check out the grid. Hemmingson, Dragoon, Krop and Hemming are on the first 2 rows. Saracino on the podium with more to prove, I'm sure, with Mayer, Martin and Gut in the top 8. Freilich will have to keep fighting from 9th place, and Noah Tomella starts P10 as per his finish. Bikini, Muscat, Russo and Andrzejewski are 11th through 14th. With Marino 15th and Watson 16th. Completing the top 20, it's Christers Berzins, Perseus Miram, Philip Koenig and Patrick Roszak. And then Menno Klont will have work to do for his Multiforce team 21st, Lattinen 22nd, Voice now starting 23rd, and Chris Butcher he DNF'd in the first. Oh, no, he had to go from a first lap incident all his way back to 24th. Lehoux crashing out on the penultimate lap ahead of Kishore, Hoekstra, and Van der Smissen. Last but not least, it's the final row, Gazowski and Nizio, who failed to finish in the first race. Now, drivers through Stowe now, just getting any final tyre warming done. So we should see, I think, the bulk of drivers on the mediums. So it could be a 0-stop strategy, or they'll go long and maybe try and fight their way back to the end. So yeah, let's see how things develop.
Yeah, 0-stop's been the strategy of choice for these race 2s the last couple of rounds, hasn't it, Eoin? But they seem to be confident on the mediums because they seem to have a fair bit of life left in them at the end of race 1. But they might try a bit conservative here in race 2, was the likes of Tuomela in 10th, Muscat in 12th, Berzins, Koenig, Klont, Lattinen, and of course Lehoux and Kishore near the very back, all on the softs. So they're going to absolutely try and push game position and then pit, presumably for another set of softs later on.
Yeah, that is a logical choice if they proceed with it. But here come the lights with the opportunity for a new name on pole to see if he can make an impact on the series. It's now go. Let's check out Hemmingson on the right side of your screens. What has Jan Dragoon got to say about that? On the inside into Abbey. Yeah, the side by side. It's the Rowan GP car forced a little bit wide, but it's all good. Hemmingson did a great job to defend there. Maurits Krop for Lunark, getting the shiny new purple car in its second race into a strong position already. Jack Mayer versus Frank Hamming as well, Ed.
Yeah, and Mayer very, very keen to clear Frank Hamming as soon as possible. We saw how well Hamming defended in race 1, but it looks like Hamming's going to hold the middle of the road, while it looks like Saracino is going to try and go around the outside of both of them. And Saracino ran the outside of Mayer, and now he's going to try Hamming as well. This is a beautiful start from Giuseppe Saracino, but he's not done the move yet. Frank Hamming refuses to yield to somebody. He's cut the track completely there.
Yeah, we're going to wait and see. I couldn't get a clear view of who it was. It could have been...
I think it's Hoekstra.
I'm thinking it's Hoekstra. Hopefully he's able to carry on in the race, and a bit of a wide there for Martin, I think it was. Yeah, he's taking on Szymon Freilich, and if Freilich can put the race 1 winner down from his pedestal. That would be huge for him. Another trouble there might have been a Monteforce in the background there.
It was.
As Amari Watson is down as well.
It's Menno Clont that's gone off at Cops there.
Oh dear, so Menno
back now.
Yeah, Menno may be tempted just to call it a day here and try and route his teammate on to glory here. Now he's challenging Tuamela for position. These guys are both on the soft tire, so it should be a fair fight. But the first lap completed, and Hemmingson, the pole sitter on the reverse grid draw, keeping hold of that position from Dragoon, and Maritz Kropp also keeping a hold of his place. But now let's see if there's any further contests. Saracino, P5, giving Mayer the blockers so far, but yeah, the battles are hotting up everywhere we look. Let's check out Berzins. He wants to make Bill Tim's afternoon a little bit happier after going pointless in race 1. But
that's Koenig, slipstreaming behind him.
That's Koenig. Oh, he's kept it as far away as he could, but he's pulled off a beautiful move. And now it's Levine Kishore who wants to make Berzin's race even less comfortable. Muscat has now, I think he's made the move. Has he? No, he's kept position, excuse me. But here's Lahu, he's on a mission.
Yeah, Lahu and Muscat both on the soft tyres, remember, so keep your eyes on Muscat's progress in this stint because those softs are going to go off before the mediums. So Muscat and Tuamela right behind him need to make the move soon in 9th and 10th. They've made a couple since the beginning of the race. I think Muscat's actually got ahead of Tuamela. As we see, here we go. Muscat now up the inside of Frelick into Stowe, and Frelick sees that there's no point fighting that one on the different compounds. So he lets the Multiforce GP car through to challenge Carlos Martin ahead of him, and now looks like Tuamela now wants a piece of him as well.
Yeah, certainly that is the case. So Tuamela subbing in for Munier. He wants to keep the flow going for T-Stop. Oh, that was close by Lahu. His charge from the lower points of the grid, sort of 25th territory. He's already up to 14th, and there was nothing Marino could do about that. But now Berzins and Kishore, it's Kishore actually through. He could have made the move a little bit earlier on in the lap with so much competition around the drivers. Now with DRS permitted from this time onwards, you can see the rear wing open on Roshak's car, for example. But yeah, those drivers will just have to sort it out amongst themselves. Jason Muscat, the fastest driver on circuit at the moment, at 139.777. So 777 there for Muscat, as he wants to make every second count on the softer tyres.
Yeah, but look at Frelick defending from Tuamela. He's certainly not going to let both soft tyre runners through without a fight. And now Martin is going to have his mirrors full. Our winner in race 1 down in 7th at the moment. And Muscat absolutely flying, as you say. I wonder if his pace might even make a few people decide to make late pit stops for the softs, because it seems to be so much faster than the medium at this phase, as we see an illustration of that visually with Tuamela easily dispensing of Frelick once he got the DRS run into Stowe there.
Yeah, so it's a double dose, I'm afraid, for Frelick. He's seen the exact same outcome for 2 laps in a row with those drivers on the softs. Hemmingson, though, is actually getting nearly a second clear of everybody, but it's Tuamela's turn to achieve fastest lap. So those drivers, and actually now it trades to Lahu. He actually got a few extra hundredths to make the fastest lap something of his own now. Oh, a loose entry into the corner. That is
it's Kishore, and he's hit one of the built-in Volpinos, and now he's going to be overtaken by the second Lunart car there. I think it was Berzins involved in that, so Berzins, after having such bad luck in Canada, it seems to follow him around here to Silverstone as well. But there is Saracino now pressuring Frank Hammond continually for that 4th position. He's already got 1 podium today. He wants to get a second one under his belt as Lucchini completely cuts the inside there. So clearly there's been contact or some sort of incident for the Alpha Delta there.
Yeah, so that's a bit of a disappointment, I'm sure, for Lucchini. But his teammate will now have a chance to perhaps fight on. We can now check out the leaderboard that has the qualifying versus the race changes, and the Who gaining 15 places. That's the headline. But Hemmingson has cleared Dragoon on DRS, and certainly going to put Dragoon into the clutches of Crop. But let's check out the earlier incident that affected Watson and Menno.
Menno ran into the back. You saw that Amari was trying to go up the inside of Menno before that as well, and they just got too close and tangled the cops there. That felt a bit clumsy by the pair of them, to be honest. So Amari, not been a great day for him so far, has it?
Yeah, this has been his worst
Sorry,
showing of the entire...
Menno trying to go up the inside here. Amari defends and almost puts him in the wall. In fact, does put him in the wall. So then Menno retaliates by just going into the back of him.
That's a case of being on the soft tires but getting it all wrong against a medium runner. Here's the onboard with Kishore. He's basically minding his own business on the outside, but that's what happened.
Sorry, he didn't hit Berzins at all.
Yeah, Berzins was loose. It wasn't a malicious move or misjudged. It was just Berzins got loose. Here's what happened to Lakini. He's in Brooklyn, and he's been pushed. Well, now he's his own.
So he didn't want to go against the flow of traffic, so that's why he's basically cut the corner there.
Yeah, so he's just minding his own. Oh, no, did get behind. That was the spark, yeah. That was the spark that made contact.
Vincent Gutt there that hit him.
Yeah, I suspect it was Vincent Gutt, but yeah, I didn't see him.
Look at this, Martin falls to 10th. Just as we come back from that replay. Right. I think Martin in trouble here.
Yeah, Carlos Martin, it's just fading away from him now. Something happened just a moment ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dropped from 7th back to 13th. And now Lahu is now up to 8th ahead of Tuomela, his teammate. So there's been some sort of incident between Tuomela and Martin.
Yeah, that's quite possible off the road for Marino. Marino has gone into the scenery, and he loses out on 2 places. Russo and Roshak are ahead of him now. So remarkably, Lahu has already beaten his teammate on circuit, and he's got another fastest lap to his name. So extraordinarily, Lahu is a contender for the win, provided his strategy is a good one.
Look at this. The other thing that's happened is Saracino has cleared Frank Hamming, and that has enabled the TOPs to close up behind. And Mayer is desperately trying to get through, but Frank Hamming defending for his life in that HGP, but he's left a little gap on the inside. Here comes Jack Mayer through Brooklands.
Yeah, that's the championship leader, the swagger. I'm sure he's
crucial move to do, because Lahu is not far behind either on the softer tyres. Oh, speaking of which, there's Koenig just tapping the back of Marino there with his own soft tyres.
Yeah, and Mayer will hope to probably G up his teammate Freilich and let him know how he got through on Hamming, and probably see if it is possible for Freilich to get DRS on Hamming too. Here they are into Beckett's and heading towards Chapel now. So this is trouble.
Run here.
Yeah, it is Lahu. He's made his commitment. He's going to stay on the outside of the hangar straight and coming into Stowe. Yeah, it's easy concession. Freilich knows where the race is flowing, and he lets Lahu through for P7.
Tell you what's also been happening. Dragoon has cut the gap to Hemmingson to just 8/10, 6/10. It was near over a second, wasn't it, when he broke DRS earlier on? But Lahu now has got his next target, and it's Frank Hamming, and surely even Hamming cannot keep the fearsome Alex Lahu at bay. He has been an absolute demon in the first 7 laps of this race, hasn't he, Eoin?
Oh, this is absolutely mesmeric play from Lahu so far. Now that he's able to probably take his hair down and push for position. Marino, though, is going to lose out. So EP Lab, their hopes for a clean sweep of points from all 2 races. But Lahu into Brooklands, he's already completed the pass, and his goal now is to take on the championship leader. The battle that we had hoped to see, but it eventually vanished. It will be another shot at Mayer versus Lahu in this sprint race. So Freilich, his view on board. Let's see if he can threaten Hamming's position, Ed.
Absolutely. And The only thing that I think could undo Lehu, who's gained 19 places from his grid slot, is if he has to stop again, he might have to make up all of these places again before the end of the race, which would be I don't want to say a shame because it needs more action for us, but it may mean he may not get a chance to make too many more moves. I think Maya he may get, but I think Saracino is a bit too far up the road before he'll have to pit again. And Tuamela in a similar spot as well on the softs.
Yeah, so Muscat was originally the driver that looked to be threatening. His race has unraveled a little bit. You can just see Muscat there.
Yeah, it's a shame because we went to replay and then something happened in that mid-pack that really destroyed Carlos Martin's race and dropped into 13th. And in fact, might we actually get a replay of that? Here we go. So Martin running 7th. That's I believe that's Tuamela right behind him then at this phase. They're about to go into Cops. Yeah, because you see Simon Frelick ahead of them and Jack Mayer, sorry. Martin goes a bit wide. Oh, and just collides into Tuamela. Oh dear, so Martin lost it all on his own, and is lucky that car stayed in roughly one piece as well. I thought the rear wing was coming off for sure there.
Yeah, certainly true, yeah, but there's nothing Tuamela could have done about that. He was just minding his own business.
Lehu is through, past Mayer.
Yeah. Lehu
lasting a remarkably long time, and look behind as well, that's Tuamela going around the outside of, is that Frank Hamming there?
Yeah, so Frelick through on Hamming now. Yeah.
Now
the TOP cars
and a chance.
Are 6th and 7th now, so they're united together, but the momentum taken away a little bit from Mayer. But Lehu, we saw pitters for medium tyres in race 1 about 11 to 13 laps. Most drivers are able to extend their life that long, but Lehu has been absolutely charging through the pack now, so those the red striped tires, I have to predict they will fall away very soon. But yeah, I remember back to Canada, it was Hamming who got reverse grid pole, and Hamming went hammer and tongs on the soft tires before he had to pit, and he was eventually beaten on the zero stop strategy. So Tuamela and Muscat have seen the time has come for a change, and that will be crucial for Lehu. His engineers should be onto him just to keep him alert to the change scenario.
Yeah, but also remember what Loic Moynier did in Canada in race 2, the usual thesis of racing driver. He was able to keep the softs alive, almost went non-stop on the soft tyres, fell from I think 2nd to 6th in the final 2 laps. He said they lasted 20 laps, but not 22 laps. From then they were just completely dead, and it was just struggling to hold on. So and at Silverstone it's even easier to overtake than Montreal, so I don't see much point in Lehu staying out. But if the tyres are still good, he might be able to get them to lap 11 or 12 maybe before stopping for another set of softs and then just going hammer and tongs on him. But if he'd have to back off a lot right now, and he's still got Jack Mayer in DRS range as well, as we look at Hemmingson controlling the gap to Dragoon behind. So the top 2 have had this race pretty much to themselves. Crop could get a we've seen a lot of first time podiums, haven't we, this season? A first podium for EP Lab. Now they're going to get a 4th as well, but it's also going to be Lunark that gets on the podium as well, as we look at Watson right behind the other Lunarker, Chris Butcher, having a much better race 2 once more. Up until that moment. Oh dear. Quite literal commentator's curse there. I apologise to Chris Butcher because he was looking to maybe get a few points there, and he's kept out of the wall, but that's going to hurt his pride, if not his car.
Yeah, this Silverstone weekend has not been kind to him. Lehu is now pitting, so here we go. This is the moment that TCS off.
Onig is in as well.
Yeah, this is where the plan needs to be absolutely perfect. He goes to the very last pit box, so he can just about stops in
time as well, Aaron.
Oh yeah. Well, let's see now what happens. Yeah, good launch. So Lehu back on the soft tires to complete this race, and he's got 8 laps to rescue whatever amount of points he can. But we know now that the fuel load is dropping, he'll be even quicker than before.
Going to be a couple of seconds a lap faster than the people he's dropped into. Here's what happened on board with Chris Butcher then. And so is it just right behind, or in front of Mario? Yeah, he just lost it on the curb there, didn't he? So easy to do though, isn't it? I watched FSR race in the World Championship last year, and Jake Dennehan did the very same thing that he just did, except that Dennehan lost his front wing in the process. So actually a pretty decent save from Chris Butcher, all things considered. As we go back to Martin, who now with those stops has climbed back up to 10th, but certainly that mistake really cost him, and he's clearly nursing a very damaged car now.
Yeah, no doubt the gearbox took a whack, and his aero certainly won't be optimal.
That's about the upper limit, isn't it? That I think Lehou can manage there in these 7 laps. He can maybe get to 10th, I think, at best, with Martin's lap time struggling so much. And look at everyone pushing like crazy ahead of him. He's got a lovely bunch of clear air to use, but ideally you want to be in the tow DRS, the person in front before too long.
Yeah, so you'll be about 26 seconds off the race lead. The interval's currently on show, and Hemmingsen has nearly got a 2-second lead, so he's clawed that slight advantage lap by lap over Dragoon.
Yeah, the interesting one to me is Simon Frelick has actually been lapping faster than Jack Mayer in front of him, so the two TOPs could be in for a little bit of a fight. Laracino has been slowly catching Moritz Krop, but not nearly quickly enough. Moritz has been a little bit too consistent, I think, for Saracino to stand much of a chance of snatching the podium. The big fight up front is the two TOPs, but the main person to get your eyes on is going to be Lehou, who has got past Perseus Miriam earlier and is closing on the back of Kakpo Nizio now.
Yeah, so Nizio didn't get very far in race 1, but he's almost within reach of a point. But Lehou is going to take that away from him very soon, so we'll keep looking out for that. But Watson, his recovery drive after that earlier collision with Clont, he's now chasing Marino for the next position. That's 12th on the track. Guzovsky and Lucchini as well, all trying to compete as hard as they can, while Lehou is still in the background, but it's not going to be much longer, I'm afraid. They will be caught up very soon. But yeah, those drivers in the DRS train. Oh, look at that exit speed. Lehou is showing no regrets for that crash. He's putting everything into Chapel once more.
I think he definitely regrets the crash.
Oh, he did, of course, yeah.
Regardless of what you might say, Eoin.
No.
But certainly he's not letting it put him off. In fact, he's going to make it easy for him. Is Lucchini by just going off track completely, and Lehou does very well not to just crash into the back of Mateusz Guzowski there in the Hyperion, who brakes very early compared to what he can do on the softer tyres. Yeah,
no fear, I suppose. Yeah, it's more the anxiety of going through that corner again, but it's not putting him off. Yeah, certainly I used the wrong word there, so apologies.
That's all right. And I think Guzowski being held up a bit by Omari Watson at this phase, because Watson has been able to nurse those mediums after his incident as Muscat sets the fastest lap of the race. Of course, he's in clear air a little bit further back behind Tuomela. And here is Martin getting through then into a ninth position past Andrzejewski. So Martin gamely battling on, trying to get as many points as he can out of this race in what looks like a very compromised package. I imagine the steering wheel's probably not pointing entirely in a straight line down the streets. But he sets out after Vincent Gutt and holds off Andrzejewski as they go through Copse again. And Martin, again, another driver showing no fear at the scene of the accident.
Yeah, certainly true. Lehou has 2 more cars to overcome in this gaggle. But at the moment, he's going to commit into Maggot.
Watson surely has to get out the throttle, and just leaves enough space there without having to sacrifice position to Guzowski behind. And now Lehou, he's just got Marino in front of him. But let's see how many seconds up the road is Russo in the Alpha Delta. No, it's not Russo, it's Andrzejewski now, I'm afraid. So I'll have to figure out again. I think he's about 10 or 11 seconds up the road with 5 laps remaining. So it's difficult to see how he's going to get through there. But Lehou up to 12 now.
Yeah, that will require constant 1 minute 39s, even to have a prayer of catching up to Andrzejewski, who is now...
He needs people to fall off the cliff, essentially, on the mediums.
The medium tyres did show a lot of durability in race 1.
Track temperature has gone up to 42 degrees, though, so that might help Lehou just a little bit, but it also means his softs will wear quicker as well, so it doesn't really help in the long run, unfortunately. For like half a second now behind Mayer at some points on this track, so I think that's the closest battle up front, but we do see Hemmingson clearing some Menno Klont, who's damaged after the first corner, and now here's Watson now continuing to squabble with Marino now that for what's near the back of the final points is Butcher makes a lovely double move there. I think that's a double move. Yeah, he's just holding off Tuomela, who's going around the outside then of Perseus Miram, who's lost 2 positions in quick succession now. And he's going to lose another, isn't he? Because he's got Jason right behind him.
And let's get on board with Jason Muscat. He will probably benefit here as the Pixelate car goes too deep into Copse, and with the soft tire advantage for Muscat. Oh no! I can't even complete the prediction. He's binned it, and that's an absolute nightmare now for Multiforce.
What a horrible day for Multiforce. I think Mike Quint will be watching this through the back of his sofa with hands in front of his eyes. Because
Netrex are surely going to overtake them in the team's championship, and you can see now that's a different part of Maggots and Beckett's compared to what we saw with Martin. He lost beforehand, and
who fastest lap the race?
Afterwards.
5 seconds now behind Andrew Juicy, so he's halved the gap then. There's every chance he can get into the top 10 here. But yeah, very important now for Martin in 9th and Watson in 14th to finish the race, get some points, because it could really play to Netrex advantage, helping them take 3rd in the team's points.
Yeah, they'll keep going as best they can. Race 2 hasn't gone all their own way. Yeah, if they can just get some extra points into the purse, I'm sure they won't complain. Koenig on the outside, he wants to take Miram's position, and he duly does so. It was a composed move, but Miram, in fairness, had less opportunity to defend on medium tyres. But now Hemmingson with the lapped Klont just giving him something to think about, with Dragoon just in the background at Stowe. It seems like Hemmingson is going to make it a remarkable day for substitute drivers if he can carry on this form. So Harvey's number 53 shining again.
Yeah, remember, Klont is on fresh softs, and he's got DRS as well, as we go back on board with Koenig and see what happened in front of him. That's, of course, Jason going off, isn't it? As we actually see Watson and Marino squabbling over 13th. And Marino once again holds him off as somebody spins in front of Koenig again. And it's one of the
Voice. I think it's Voice. Yeah.
Really bad luck for Kevin Voice. He was having such a solid run, and now drops to 23rd then. I guess it wasn't all that solid, because I think he was a lap down in front of them. Was it Voice? No, it was Van der Smissen.
Excuse me.
Sorry, I shouldn't have trusted you there, and you tricked me.
Right.
But anyway, 2 laps to go. And Van der Smissen right at the back. It's not been a great day for him either, but the crabbing looks absolutely horrific there. And in fact, he's struggling to even get into his pit box. It's so far down that he is struggling to keep it in a straight line in the pits, even at the lower pit lane speed limit. But yeah, it looks like up front, Saracino's got to within 7/10 of Moritz Kropp. So the battle for the podium, it's not over yet. Here we go. Kropp, his lap times have really started to drop off into the mid 41s here, whereas Saracino's in the low 41s still. And there are the 2 TOP. Surely team orders in play here to keep Frelick behind, because Mayer is going to come out of this with a big lead in the Drivers' Championship.
I certainly agree with that, Ed. There's no need for Frelick to take an extra point off.
Or to take his teammate out potentially if he's not careful. That could really change the dynamic there.
Yeah.
Frelick's going to get a lot of points here, especially with Harvey and Quinn absent, so there's no need to fight, because they're both going to benefit staying where they are. But Saracino, he wants to steal that podium off of Moritz Kropp. Kropp, very experienced driver, and a big signing for the Lunark team. But Saracino, he's really shown what he can do today. And anyone who's been watching FSR Academy, perhaps not so surprised, because Saracino is a podium finisher and race winner there. But certainly in GPVWC terms, Saracino has really blown things wide open, as we see a penalty for Menno Klont, and perhaps that's for the blue flags for Jan Dragoon, trying to overtake him, and Menno Klont stubbornly refusing, and unfortunately being given a drive as a result.
Yeah, and that just compounds his misery today.
It doesn't really matter for him, I guess, as look how slow the Lunark is here. Saracino's got a brilliant opportunity to snatch 2 third places in 2 races.
Yeah, so the dilemma is certainly for Crop, knowing how important these points are for Lunark. But at the same time, with Saracino, he has the form behind him and the confidence to believe the podium is on, especially with Mayer. Mayer's probably made a gain the last lap, so Saracino, his mind must be considering this pass needs to be made as the final lap is on the horizon now. He tries a shimmy, but
when he was setting himself up, you saw he wasn't going to make the move up the inside intercept, but he's setting himself up for Club, Vale and beyond. Try and just put pressure on Moritz Crop there. I think that was actually quite smart driving because he knew he was going to run out of road. Here we go. The TOP guys are closing in. This is very, very tense all of a sudden, Eoin.
Oh, you better believe it could be a repeat of what we saw earlier in the battle for 5th through to 8th with barely 10th of a second separating them all. But the final lap begins. Martin Hemmingsen.
And Trubisky crashes out. Oh dear,
no.
that's a big shame for him. He was looking good for a top 10 finish, so that promotes Lahoo to 11th then. But here we go, great run for Saracino then as they go to Hamilton straight. Oh, and horrible run for Crop as well.
He's in peril here, but he hangs on the inside as best he can. But Luffield later on, and then Woodcote could be to the benefit of Saracino. No, again, Crop is able to park it on the apex.
Into the back of him, and now Jack Mayer is really going to get involved here if he can't make the move.
Exactly. You can know the revs climbing as Mayer shifts into 6th gear, but he has to back off and avoid contact. That's a bit wide there for one of the lapped cars, the Friesland driver, or Friesland, excuse me, yeah.
Here we go, not much opportunity left. Hemmingsen about to win then, but Crop only has a few more corners to go to hold on. The TOP guy's getting very close. Is Frelick going to make a move on DRS on his teammate? Here we go.
Yeah, he's thinking and thinking. No, he's not going to do it. And Crop has almost held on, but Hemmingsen, 2 corners to go, 1 right-hander, and then the final kink, and he's through. So Martin Hemmingsen has taken a fantastic victory for Spark. Dragoon crossed the line second, and Crop hangs on. So Lunark, in their 2nd appearance since taking the place of Butler, have a podium, Ed.
Yeah, the top 3 unchanged then in the order, but very, very exciting behind between them all as we see Lucchini then just coming to the finish, and Lahoo confirmed then from last to 11th then, so it may not have been the top 10, but still a very, very tidy drive there. All the people had to make extra pit stops. It wasn't the ideal strategy to be on. What you really wanted to do was stay on the mediums the whole way through. That seems to be the way of the race twos. You think they all would have learned by now, but some people, maybe it's worth taking the risk. Maybe you can put on a few overtakes and gain a bit of confidence having done that and build up a big enough of a gap. But even if you build a gap, you still got to work your way back through, and we saw with Lahoo that limited the amount of points you could score today.
Yeah, that's true. We're going to take one last replay. Perseus Miram into Maggots and Beckett's always tagged. Yeah.
That's another multi-force GP in the wall there. Is that the other one of Menno being hit there? I think that was Menno.
Is it Menno?
Oh dear. I'm not sure they're on the same lap there. Because I don't know what happened to Jason after he crashed earlier. It's a little bit chaotic.
Yeah, it must have been Jason because he's actually close enough to Menno, so yeah, it must have been Jason, I'm afraid to say.
2 for Jason in a row. Is introducing this is what happened to him. Just lost it at Stowe. That is a weird one.
Yeah, there's the rear wing on in the mirrors as well.
But a very costly error for Hyperion. There was a top 10 there up for grabs for Andrzejewski, and will have to lick his wounds, I'm afraid. But Hemmingsen there celebrates victory for Spark, and well deserved there too. He absolutely controlled that one.
Yeah, there was no threat whatsoever. He made everything beyond reach of Jan Dragoon. So there we are, the results on screen after 17 laps. It's Martin Hemmingsen victorious. He had a 4-second lead over Dragoon in the end. Moritz Crop, I'm sure, would be thrilled with that podium. Saracino, similar. He didn't quite pull off the double, but that is a remarkable turn up for him. Jack Mayer, well and truly in command of the championship with Mike Quint absent. And then TOP consolidate the team's championship lead as well. 5th and 6th, Mayer from Freilich. Frank Hamming, usually a very strong competitor in race 2. He got 7th place today. Vincent Gutt, following up his teammates' remarkable result there, P8. Federico Russo was 10th, but Carlos Martin eventually got him for 9th. So, yeah, well done to those guys. The points that were still on the table went to Lahu, Lucchini, Koenig, Tomella, and Gazowski. Nizio, Watson, Butcher, Miram, and Marino in the top 20, but go from this race empty-handed. Then we have Berzins from Voice and Latinen, who was a lap down. Muscat, similarly a lap down. Then Andrzejewski is not classified as a finisher, but he will obviously because he completed enough laps. Menno Klont, a lap down as well. Van der Smissen had the crash, knocking off his rear wing, but he was able to make it to the pits. But then Loveen Kishore, not on the leaderboard, but he was out of the race, as was Roshak and Wapke Hoekstra. And I can see the interview room is filling up now, so you have plenty of options for us to talk to. So,
shall we talk to our new championship leader, Jack Mayer?
Yeah, Mayer. Let's hear from Jack, please. Hi, Jack. Welcome into the interview room. Not necessarily the golden day, but you are the championship leader. So how do you think that went today?
Overall, I think the day was pretty positive. I mean, I wasn't aware Mike wouldn't be turning up, so that was already I was already doing better than I thought I would, because going into today, again, I know I said it at Spain, I know I said it at Canada, but today really was on the back foot. I think in practice, I was looking at about 4 tenths down on Shimon and quali. So in the actual session, we brought it all out. So I was happy with that. And then to come home second and 5th in the end, race 2 was, I think,
only just in 5th, yes.
Just in 5th, but a 5th nonetheless. And we get the points. And I believe with Mike not being here, that's 26 points ahead of him, I think now, if I worked out correctly. So
you were 13 ahead after race 1, and I think you scored 10 more points having finished 5th. So yes, you would be 23 ahead. Yeah, and I believe Simon has moved back up to 3rd ahead of Thomas Harvey in the drivers.
Because Tom wasn't here.
Yeah,
but I think I didn't expect to be fighting for a podium. So to being in the fight for the lead, even though we lost it, I was still happy to have had that pace. I think we couldn't win either races. We had strong pace, but taking the lead of the championship at home race is probably more rewarding, I think.
Yeah, and of course the fact that yourself, Carlos, Alex, Lahu, they were all very competitive with you, as of course the substitution for EP Lab that made things very interesting. But
Giuseppe Saracino, yes.
Giuseppe, exactly, yeah. So yeah, it was a case of being second on the grid was just not capable of beating Carlos, even though you had the lead from lap 1.
Well, I mean, it's so hard to overtake here, at least for us at TOP. It was pretty difficult. I think you saw in race 2, it must be one of the most boring race 2s of the season from what I could see. But it was hard to overtake, and I know Carlos got it back past, and that was, you look to the inside at Cops. It's terrifying going side by side going through the Cops on its own in this car is terrifying. So add another car into it. I just wanted to survive. I ran it out wide. I got a bit bottomed, if I remember, on the curb. That lit the rears up, and it was just sit and duck for the rest of the in lap. And done what we could. Had a little scrap with Alex. That's the most racing I think we could have done, really. If you side by side, that's fair enough. But following's just something else. So it was just a matter of seeing who made mistakes and who didn't at the end of the day. And GG to Carlos for race 1, and GG to Martin turning up and winning race 2.
And for your information, Jack, we don't do boring races. We certainly found things to get excited about. But I can understand from your perspective, being stuck in that DRS train, it might have been a little bit different. But you did make the move, at least on Frank Hamming. So you did make some good progress in the race, at least in race 2, and got valuable points there at the end.
Yeah, I'm glad you guys enjoyed it. It's definitely something different sitting back. But no, as long as everyone enjoyed it.
I shouldn't challenge a championship leader like that. I'm sorry.
Nah, it's all right. We'll see where we are end of round 16, but it's looking okay for now.
Yeah, brilliant. Thanks for your time, Jack. And I won't be here in 2 weeks, actually. I'll be getting up to some football in my locality. So, yeah, I won't be here in 2 weeks, but I wish you the very best of luck.
Yep, enjoy the footy, and I'll see you in 2 weeks, Edward.
Yeah, see you in 2 weeks. Oh, thanks, Jack. You see, he knows I'll be. That's good.
See you now. Take care.
See you guys.
Let's hear from Carlos. Obviously, he's.
I thought you were about to say Carlos. Yeah, I know you too well at this point, Aaron. Let's get him in.
Yeah. So Carlos, 2 wins in a row, but not quite available for the hat trick. So, yeah, your pole time was absolutely wonderful to watch. So, how did you feel you competed in race 1, having held on to that pole?
I actually don't feel like I deserve to win. I think Alex was the guy who did a better job overall. I just tried to defend myself as hard as I could. And regarding qualifying, I think everybody bottled a bit. My personal best was a 0.1 and doing a 0.4. I mean, I'm pretty sure many people had a better lap time than what they showed today.
Interesting, yeah. But in the race pace, once that DRS train of the 4 drivers from Giuseppe, Alex, yourself, and Jack, it was, everyone was so evenly matched, but you managed to find that crucial moment before the pit stops. So, yeah, you felt the softs onto mediums was the right call?
Well, I was particularly better on the soft compared to the medium. I actually overtook Jack before pitting. I overtook him on track.
Yeah, we saw.
Which is something I was surprised to myself, because when we were testing Omari and myself, we were not able to overtake neither each other. So I was pretty surprised. I also wasn't sure that in lap 1, when we were side by side into cops, I mean, we went side by side into cops a pair of times. I mean, a bit of Max Verstappen nightmare. But I'm not sure if he kept the 4 wheels on the track, but at the end it didn't matter. And with the hards, I did a half spin like in the lap 15 or 16, and then my tires were very hot, and I was trying to cool them down, and I wasn't able. I was probably 3-4 tenths lower than what I was able to put on. And then race 2, I did a mistake when I was side by side with the other. Yeah, exactly. And I spinned into this driver, and I smashed the wall so hard. I hope I didn't ruin as heavy his race or her race. I don't know if he or she.
Well, he had to pit again after that. I think Tuamela was okay. He didn't seem too put out by that.
Well, in any case, I'm sorry because it was on me. I lost the car. I lost the rear end by just clipping a bit the anti-cut on the outside, and then I just went into the TCS off car, and yeah, apparently it was me who had the TCS off.
But still, 13th to 9th, that was a decent recovery considering the damage you had at the end there, Carlos. Looked like you really showed your class pretty much throughout in both races, apart from that incident. That was really the only blot on the copybook, to use an English schoolboy term.
Well, I mean, I'm not entirely satisfied, because I think we have to be stronger, and next track we don't know if we will be strong, because we apparently struggle in slow cornering. And whatever is a fast track with fast corners like Barcelona or Silverstone, we don't struggle. And I personally don't struggle with the knee here. It was a relief. Canada, I was crying after the race. I couldn't even practice any single lap for FSR. So yeah, I'm glad we took the win today, but we need to do better if we want to aim for winning the constructors championship. I mean, yeah, that's the goal.
Speaking of the constructors, you do officially move Netrex up to third today, past Multiforce. So certainly that's great progress. And you and Omari keep scoring the points. I know Omari didn't have the best of days today either, but certainly he complemented the points that you scored, especially in race 2. So certainly it's game on ready for third or potentially even better as we get later into the season.
I really think we can still fight for P1. I mean, some things need to happen. I mean, I think we have the.
Need to keep winning more races. That's what needs to happen, Carlos.
I mean, we're in a good streak, right? In Canada, we were slow and we still scored very good results. I was actually happier at Canada when we did the 1-2 working together. Today it feels a bit bittersweet because for me it goes together with Omari, and when it goes for me but it doesn't go for Omari, I don't feel that excited. I'm just thinking into the next one, actually.
Yeah, so you have 2 more weeks until the next event in Hungary. So thanks for your time, Carlos, and have a good evening, and see you soon.
Thanks to all of you for the commentary and the broadcast. Thanks.
Well, cheers,
Very
Carlos,
welcome.
as always. Always lovely to talk to you. Shall we get Moritz Kropp in after his podium
please,
for
yeah,
Luna?
Mark deserves a chance as well. I want to hear from him.
Because we didn't hear from Luna last time. Chris Butcher
That's
left
correct,
halfway through the interviews.
Yeah, we were disappointed about that. Yeah. Hello, Moritz. Welcome to the broadcast interview. So, podium on your first entry. So you must be delighted.
Yeah, hello. Thank you very much. I'm still a bit speechless, to be honest. I mean, I was struggling so much with the tires. But yeah, I'm quite happy with the result.
Yeah, so race 1, you were in the middle of that 5-car fight at the end for 5th place, and you won, where they were all 6 tenths apart at the end. You and Vincent Gutt had an amazing battle. Could you talk us through that a little bit?
Yeah, so I was a little bit on the back foot because I had a bad qualifying in the race. And I thought we were going to do well with going like 12 laps on the soft, but we actually didn't. So I probably should have pitted a bit earlier. But yeah, from then on, I was just trying to make up the gap again, and I don't know, somehow I got involved. I think they were battling ahead of me. So yeah, I don't know. I just got involved and barged my way through. And but like the last few laps, they were so difficult, so difficult. The car was like all over the place, and I just remember saying to Toby that I probably won't make it. But yeah, turned out pretty well.
Turned out pretty well indeed.
Yeah, they never gave up, obviously. But yeah, race 2, a bit quieter up the front because Martin Hemmingson cleared everybody, and Dragoon in second place is too far ahead. But yeah, you kept your cool in P3 with Giuseppe Saracino, one of the stars of the whole week, or the whole weekday, I should say. Yeah, so yeah, you must be absolutely delighted. But do you think Lunar can maintain this momentum after such a bright start?
Well, I'd hope so. I probably haven't done enough laps on the medium or the hard as it is now. It's just been, I don't know, it's not been my tire today, although I've spent most of the laps on it. I don't know, I was just sliding too much and trying to catch people up. It was so too difficult, and also our setup didn't help because like we were running lower downforce to everyone else. And like everyone was so good at the corners and the tires were looking so good at the end, and mine were actually like dropping off, like really dropping off. And yeah, I think that there's a lot more to come in the future. I mean, it's my first round in this car. So yeah, looking forward to the rest of the season.
Yeah, as well you should. Yeah, a great opening to it, and wish you best of luck from the next round onwards.
Thank you very much.
Right, so we've got Laho and Vincent Gutt. So either of them, I think Laho might have the more interesting story because we already heard from Moritz about the 5-car fight. So shall we go for Laho?
Yeah, sure thing. Welcome, Alex. Yeah, I think there's the elephant in the room for you, I'm afraid. So do you want to discuss what happened to you on the second to last lap of race 1? Is he there?
Yeah, imagine scoring points in race 1.
No, that never happens, Alex.
Yeah,
Never happened.
never happening again. But yeah, the pace was really great despite the dirty air. I managed to save the tires very well on the first stint, on the soft stint in race 1. Towards the 2 laps before we pit, I was actually like kind of waiting behind Carlos and Jack. Eventually, I got the run on Jack because something happened to him on the exit of Beckett's, so I took advantage of it. But the racing we had with Carlos and Jack was extremely clean, and I want to thank them for that. Wasn't the case at the back in race 2.
Yeah, something happened on the medium stint in race 1 where you were battling with Carlos. The move didn't work out, and that left you exposed to Jack, didn't it? And then even to Giuseppe Saracino as well. From then on, was that why you were pushing so hard near the end?
Well, I mean, I knew that I made a honest mistake. I completely messed up the braking zone, to be honest. I meant to stay on the inside. It didn't work out. I just messed up the braking, so yeah. So my car went off the rubber line. I started to lose it. I saved it. Then Giuseppe Saracino, sorry, took advantage of it and overtook me. So I knew that I made a mistake, and it was a DRS turn until the end. So I saved the tires, and on the final 2 laps, I decided to go for it. Eventually worked out, but on the exit of Beckett's, yeah, I was too close to Giuseppe, even though I had the switchback, and the rear tires didn't like it. I was on 70% total, but the grip, for some reason, was not there, and there you go. Yeah, I think the rear tires knew that I was French, so they decided to crash me out.
The French don't tend to do too well on British circuits, it seems. But you disproved that completely, though, in race 2. I think you made 20 overtakes before pitting, and then I think you did another 11 or 12 after pitting as well. So it was pretty... the strategy probably wasn't the one to go for in the end, because those who stayed out finished higher up, but you put on quite a show for us in race 2, Alex. And we had Jack Mayer came in early saying, "Oh, what a boring race 2 was." And we said, we beg to differ because Alex put on such a show for us.
I mean, duality of men. My race 2 was actually really fun because I used the soft strat. We were supposed to do 15 laps on the hard in race 1. So doing 17 on them in race 2, I knew that those last 2 laps would be kind of harsh on them. So I decided to go on the soft route for the first time since the season started. And it felt kind of right. I could have gotten even P10 if it wasn't for the small incident I had with Mr. Andrzejewski. Sorry if I butchered the name.
Oh, is that why Andrzejewski crashed in the Hyperion?
No, it was after that he crashed after that. He had a small incident that cost me 2 seconds in turn 4. And I don't know what happened.
He spun
we'll
it
have to check again.
Off the rear wing.
Unfortunate. But that's one more position for Noah anyways. So let's go.
Yeah, it was actually...
Yeah, race 2 was... No, go ahead.
No, yeah, it's just my next question for you was just to comment on Noah's performance. Do you think he stepped in for Loic as best he could? Do you think it was all good for him?
That's a really good attempt. He did a really good quali lap in practice, 37.8 for the time he had in the car. You know, he's not used to it, and he's maybe driving a setup that doesn't really suit his driving style. Yeah, so he did a pretty good job. He did a very good job on that one.
And there was the tense moment where him and Carlos Martin tangled in race 2, and you were able to overtake both of them as a result. Was that a bit of a, I just got to squeeze through here kind of moment, wasn't it, Alex? While they were having their accident.
Yeah, I heard about the crash, but I didn't think much of it. I was focused on my thing.
Probably the right attitude in the end. Anyway, I'm out of questions, Eoin. Is there anything else you want to ask Alex before we let you go?
I just hope in Hungary, is there any way you can just get the car to the line in race 1?
Got to break the curse, my friend. Break the curse.
Yeah, please.
So wait, I'm thinking of crashing opportunities in race 1. Hang on. Turn 5 maybe. We're going to see. No, to be honest, yeah. It's annoying, but it is what it is. Dirty, I was too strong on this one. Nothing I could do there. I had the run, I had the switchback, but the car just didn't like it.
Okay. Well, yeah. Hopefully something
Unfortunate,
will go your
happens.
way. Yeah. In 2 weeks' time. But for now, Alex, thanks for your time, and see you again soon.
Alright, see you guys, and yeah, have fun. Have a good evening. Thank you.
You too. Bye bye.
Thank you. All right. Probably not got quite. Oh, we have got time for Vincent.
Yeah, I think we have time. Yeah. Welcome, Vincent. Solid enough race for you, but I think the team's championship probably looking a bit better with Martin's win in race 2.
Oh yeah, I'm really happy to have him as a replacement, reserve for this round for Tom. He did really well. In practice, it was a bit rough. It didn't work. Yeah, he struggled a bit, but yeah, today he didn't do really mistakes. And in race 2 he won. So I'm really happy about that. Yeah.
Vincent, can we talk a little bit about race 1, especially the ending? Because
Oh
you were in a
no,
battle
please
with
not.
Frank Hamming. You and Frank Hamming were in a little bit of a battle, and unfortunately, you couldn't quite find a way through because Frank defended pretty aggressively, weaving down every straight we saw in the background. And then you got into this fight with Jan Dragoon and the man we were just talking to earlier, Moritz Kropp. So could you talk us through that a little bit? I'm sorry to have to ask you. Painful memories.
I forgot it already a bit, but yeah, it was fun until the last 3 corners. For a second I had P5 and the chance to get it, and then I lost it and even 2 more positions. I finished in P8.
I think Martin
that was
just
a bit
got through
annoying.
the final corner as well.
Yeah, Martin got you there. Yeah.
Yeah. And who was behind me? I can't remember who was in
Frelick,
front
I think.
of.
Shimon, yeah.
No, he finished behind me. I mean, 2 cars overtook me, and I was trying to overtake Moritz, I think.
Moritz was one of them. He finished 5th. Jan Dragoon was the other, I think.
Yeah, Jan Dragoon, yeah.
That was a bit annoying, especially. Okay, Martin won, so I'm happy about that. But yeah, I would like.
If you had stayed ahead, you might have got that reverse grip.
Yeah.
Just saying. Anyway, race 2 looked 8th in the end. Looked a little bit. Obviously, from Martin's side, he had it all under control up front. But from your side, you were in a few more battles, weren't you, in race 2?
Oh yeah, and I have to apologize to. I had to check it. Lucchini. I thought I can follow Alex and overtake Lucchini, but yeah, I didn't brake late enough to get alongside, and I wanted to back off. And yeah, it was such a tiny tap, but I spun him, and I'm really sorry about that.
It's okay. I think I misidentified you and said that someone else did it, Vincent. So it's okay. It's all good.
Yeah. I suppose if yourself and Thomas are back together for Hungary, do you think there's any way of keeping up with the TOP guys? They're getting stronger and stronger, it appears.
Only if something happens to them. Otherwise, I don't think we have a chance. They have 2 top drivers. I score well usually, and Tom is in their league, but that's not enough to beat them. To be honest, to be realistic.
Yeah, and it was an important win today because otherwise Netrex just seemed to keep winning at the moment.
They scored a lot in the last rounds.
Yeah, so you worried about them then? By the sounds of things, they're in the equation.
Yeah, a bit. For the team standings, it was good that Omari didn't finish well, but he's someone I like, so I hope. For him, I really hope he finished better and don't have bad luck in the next rounds.
Yeah, we like Omari too, so let's hope
he's
he has
a
better
very
time
nice person.
Indeed, he is. Right, I think I don't have any more questions, Owen. So I think
Vincent,
I'm pretty sure Christine Vazdar didn't compete in the race, so I don't think anyone else in the interview room. We've gone for everyone. Which is rare for us.
And thanks for waiting, Vincent. Last but certainly not the least. So I appreciate your time and hope to see you again soon.
Yeah, thank you for the interview. And again, I'm sorry for the incident with Nico.
No worries. I'm sure there'll be time for him, Licini, to get revenge in 2 weeks. So don't worry, Vincent. And we'll be there. I'll be there to see it.
Okay. Thank you and goodbye.
Bye-bye. Yeah, Ed, so that's all the time we have for, but yeah, I'm missing my first commentary event of 2023 as I have a hope of seeing my local football team advance in Europe. So yeah, fingers crossed we beat the Luxembourg team, do the launch in the Europa Conference League. So yeah, that's where I'll be in 2 weeks' time. But yeah, hopefully, Ed, all will go according to plan in 2 weeks. And of course, Heigo is the broadcast operator today. Really appreciate him and all his efforts. So yeah, any last thoughts, Ed?
So Yusuf leaves, you leave. That's me on my own for Hungary. I'll see if I can get
Hopefully
another co-commentator to participate. I've got somebody that I'm in talks with at the moment, so it should be all good. But anyway, keeping our minds back onto Silverstone, I think race 1 we saw that 4-way fight for the lead and the 5-way fight for 5th right on the final lap. So race 1 was definitely a big highlight. Race 2 a little bit quieter up front, but still first podium for Lunark, first podium for EP Lab in the previous race. We got a new star in Saracino, and yeah, that we had Lehu's up and down day as well. It seems to have repeatedly up and down days, but hopefully there's a sign of he can slowly but surely get things together. His qualifying is still absolutely exceptional, but yeah, up in the championship, Jack Mayer taking control though, so it's going to be difficult for Mike Quinn to get back on top now because Jack Mayer just keeps scoring big results, especially in race 1s. But Mike Quinn, I wouldn't count him out just yet because if something happens, then he can get that Multiforce car back on top because it was a horrible day for Multiforce today.
It was, unfortunately, but yeah, Mayer has seemingly got control of his bad luck. Obviously, race 2 back in the Nürburgring, he had a disconnection. So ever since then, he's been absolutely raking in the points. So we'll see if that form continues in Hungary. But for me, Eoin Harmon and Ed Hunter and Heigo Poom as broadcast director, it's thank you very much from Silverstone and have a good night. Bye-bye.